And the Bruin. Boston's home for sports is 98.5, the Sports Hub. Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Celtics began their playoff run with a 103-86 win over the Orlando Magic yesterday at TD Garden. Derek White's 7 3-pointers led the C's with 30 points. Game 2 of the best-of-7 series is Wednesday night. Other game ones yesterday, Oklahoma City blew out Memphis. Cleveland a winner over Miami. Golden State takes game 1 over Houston. NBA yesterday announcing finalists for its season awards. The only Celtic nominated, Peyton Pritchard for 6th Man of the Year. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic, the finalists for league MVP. Red Sox 4-game winning streak ended with an 8-4 loss to the White Sox yesterday at Fenway. Boston's bullpen surrendering 6 runs in the last 3 innings to blow a 4-2 lead. Same teams play the traditional Patriots Day 11:10 start time today. Walker Buehler will be on the mound. Stanley Cup playoff game ones yesterday. Carolina a 4-1 win over New Jersey. Toronto with a 6-2 win last night over Ottawa. And Vegas beat Minnesota 4-2. And today marks the 129th running of the Boston Marathon. Headlines are brought to you by Ketchus Law. At Ketchus, they specialize in helping those who have been injured not only from a one-time incident, but from a lifetime of hard work and labor. Does this sound like you? Visit KetchusLaw.com. I'm Ryan Johnston on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. More headlines in around 30 minutes.
Listen to it, laugh at it, get mad at it, agree with it, argue about it. It is Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher.
When has that been necessary to fact check?
And Hardy.
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
On 98.5.
Hey there.
Sarge GPT loading up.
Let me hear you say, "Boo! Boo! Boo!"
Crush me, mommies.
Say my name.
I'm a robot.
I'm the son of the Pope.
I'm a goddamn dragon.
Yeah, good luck, dude.
That's like a good tushy.
I love you. And I think you know that. Excuse me?
Toucher and Hardy.
Watch Daddy and Uncle Freddie.
Knocking back some fun. Having some fun.
On 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go.
You know, they're more of a marathon runner, you know, and that's more of a offense position rather than defense.
I'm gonna run the city naked.
Fantastic start to the show. It is Toucher and Hardy live from Hopkinton. Hardy and Dan Roche this morning because would you put the phone away, Dan? You're like my teenage daughter with the snapping and the Instagramming and the TikToking. You're on the air right now. You're working right now. Stop posting. Holy crap.
Hey, Artie. How you doing? Happy Marathon Monday.
It really is insufferable.
You're
What's
in a
the
good
matter
mood.
with you?
Good to see you're in a great mood. This to me, right?
Why?
I
Why?
love this day.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
Because there are very few things in life that are unique anymore. And in Massachusetts and New England, we have things such as the bean pot, right? First Monday in February, second Monday in February. The third Monday in April, we have the Boston Marathon. And there are people on buses right now. I dropped my daughter off last year at this time to the Merrimack Valley Striders bus location. They're all on a bus coming down here to Hopkinton. They're the nicest people you'll ever meet. They're determined. They're going to go out there and run a marathon today.
Who are the nicest people?
The runners.
All of the runners.
Yes.
Everybody running the marathon today is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet.
Not a bad
Because-
person among them.
Because hi, Ryan.
Ryan Johnston, thank
morning,
you.
guys.
I'm so irritated with Dan already, and we were getting along fine right up until the show started, and he had his phone out, and he's doing his little tilty camera shot and taking a photo, and instead of, I don't know, being on the show, he was trying to post a photo. It's like one of my kids. But you're not one of my kids. You're a grown-ass man. So, and now you're trying to tell me and everyone else that everybody running the marathon today is just the best person on the planet.
I think so, because you know why? It's not about
No.
it's not about the winners of this race. It's about the people behind them and the stories that will start to come in, trickle down through the finish line. Money raised for charity.
We're gonna have
money raised for cancer, things like that.
We're going to have a lot of good stories today.
So we can't start with that too, to tell people like, hey, welcome to Marathon Monday here.
We're going to talk to a lot of people with a lot of good stories, but there is also a lot of people running today that are, dare I say, just average human beings who happen to want to run the marathon. Is that okay to say, too?
That's a great perspective on a Monday morning on a beautiful weather day. We got surprisingly tremendous weather. Nice.
It's cold.
It's crisp.
It's cold.
It's awesome day.
I can't even take my hands out of my pockets to scroll on my computer screen.
A quick thank you to all the volunteers, to the firefighters, to the police that are here today protecting us as they make the trek from Hopkinton to Boston. It's a great day. You know, for 8 years, Hardy, I was the PA voice of the Boston Marathon.
And why aren't you anymore?
Because we switched rights. The enemy's right over there.
You lost the job.
Yeah.
You lost
I didn't
the
lose
job.
it.
You lost the job.
No, the rights
Do you think
changed.
if you were better at the job, they would have stuck with your TV station?
No.
Did that factor in at all?
No, it had nothing to do with me.
Not one part of the calculus.
It was money. Okay?
Ryan, go ahead. I know you've been trying to jump
I
in.
was just going to say, Tim McCone is running today, right? So
yes.
not an extraordinary individial. I think we all know that.
Perfect
Look
example.
at you two setting the tone today. Thank
Perfect
you.
example.
So this is what we're going to battle. Fine.
So I've been texting with McCone, and again, I was here last year, and of course I know about the marathon. I will also push back a tiny bit on the uniqueness of it, and actually that does a disservice to the Boston Marathon.
It does.
To call it unique, Dan, because it is one of 6.
Well, let's call it the greatest marathon.
It is one of 6 majors.
Yes, I know the Abbott majors. Okay, don't try to impress me with your red knowledge at 5:45. Okay?
It's not red. This is something I grew up knowing.
Oh, yeah.
And dreaming one
You're from
day.
Detroit. You have no idea.
Sitting here at dawn, getting ready to broadcast outside on some tilted earth in a folding chair.
For all those people
for the marathon
on the bus right now, and if you're doing it for the first time, let me just tell you, hydrate, use the porta potty.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh,
Use
should
the
you
porta-
drink water before you run 26.2 miles? Hey, everyone, listen up. Dan Roche has marathon tips. Drink water, he says. Go. What else?
You're not going to, let me finish or anything today? So, when you start, it's downhill. Slow down. When you start.
Oh.
Every mile for the first 5 or 6 miles.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a PR differently, but if you're not looking for a PR and you're just doing the marathon for the first time for a charity and you want to finish,
That's a PR's personal record
yes.
in runner's speed.
Okay, good.
Because you ran this once 35 years ago.
So
go ahead.
When you start, walk at the first mile marker.
Yeah.
To your left will be water. Get a cup. Make sure you're not running while you drink it. Walk, drink it. Right over there on the other side is Gatorade. Do that. Drink for the first 5 or 6 miles, every single mile, so that when you're in Boston at Kenmore Square, you want to take a picture, a selfie in front of the Fenway and the Citgo sign and everything, you're fine. So you're not wobbly and you're not coming in like hampered and everything like that. So do that. That's my advice to you on this day, even though it's going to be sunny.
It makes sense that somebody who was consumed with taking photos while the show had started would be most concerned with looking good in a photo in Kenmore Square.
How was your weekend?
And that's why you should drink
Did you have
water.
a good weekend? Something wrong? Like, what the hell? I love this day. It's a beautiful day.
Like a water cooler.
It's great. I'm very happy to be here. Both Fred and Wallach will be out all week because they're professionals and they decide that they're going to skip out on both the marathon and the NFL draft. Bang up job to both those guys. I'll throw Zolak in the mix too.
You know where I'm going Wednesday?
Off all week, these guys. What?
Green Bay.
You're going to Green Bay on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. And you're out there till what?
Thanks for inviting me to host with you all week. Just today.
I would have had you all. I don't schedule.
Yeah.
I don't. They don't ask
You've
me.
never liked me since you took over.
No, that's
How are
not
you
true.
going to host all week if you're going to Green Bay on Wednesday?
I just wanted the invite, Ryan. I didn't want to do it.
We want to. I'll tell you this much. We absolutely wanted Brian for the entire week, but you've got stuff to do at the end of the week, Ryan.
I do. Thursdays and Fridays are going to be difficult for me.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Not a whole lot. Just enjoying my off season.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you feel bad because your first voice of the Bruins, so they didn't make the playoffs for the first time since like 1929.
Why do you connect one to the other? Why do you do that?
A lot of people have.
Yeah.
Been hearing that a lot all season.
That's not
This
great.
is your fault. I've apparently replaced Dale Arnold as the cursed one.
Oh yeah, you're the gooch, you're the jinx.
Right.
I never for a moment thought about blaming you until Dan brought it up, and I still won't give it any consideration at all, Ryan.
I didn't tell anybody when they gave me the job that in 9 years in the American Hockey League we only made the playoffs I think 3 times. So.
Oh.
Yeah. One playoff series win in 9 years.
Is it tough to make the playoffs in that league?
About as tough as it is in the NHL to make.
Yeah, I mean same number
go.
of teams. I mean, is it like same? Okay, all right. No, I don't know.
You know what my connection to hockey and Ryan and the Bruins broadcast is?
You love hockey.
2 years ago, I was with Bob Beers. We left the Garden, walked up and over Beacon Hill to the finish line, and while he watched his daughter finish, I watched my daughter finish at the finish line.
That's really nice.
2 years ago today.
That's really
or in
nice.
this area.
Yeah.
This time.
Okay. That's a nice story.
Again, another nice story about the marathon. It's a beautiful day here, Hardy. Okay?
It's
By the
cold.
time we're done at 10 a.m., you're going to walk out feeling differently. Okay?
I did it last year. I know how I feel now. I know how I'm going to feel then. It's 37 degrees, and it's cold. Okay? It's not miserable. I think last year maybe we had a little bit of rain or something early on, and that was worse. But, don't try and make me feel better about the situation than it is. It's fine, but, if we were here in June, I would probably feel differently about it. But it's cold out here.
We need more clouds, too, for the runners.
Why do the runners need
sun.
clouds?
You don't want sun.
Why not?
It's just the burning sun, because they can get on your back, and, then you got to worry about the hydration, right, in that part. So.
Well, not if they take your awesome tip of drinking a lot of water. I mean, that is.
Don't forget the Gatorade too. You have to go on the other side for the Gatorade.
That's Olympic level stuff right there.
Shout out to Tom and Lynn Linciadello, who are volunteers today at the marathon.
They're listening.
They're on the Striders bus probably right now.
They're probably listening.
Yep, coming down.
So
there are a lot of people you don't understand that. You and Fred especially. That at 6 o'clock there are a lot of people listening that are all doing different things with their lives. People go to work way earlier now. Like when I'm driving in, there's a lot of traffic at 4:30, 5 o'clock.
I know. I see it every day.
So there's all these people on these buses and stuff. They're all listening and driving, and they're excited to go to their. How many volunteers are at this event?
I don't think I'm doing anything to quell their enthusiasm. They're probably actually excited to hear that's a little bit chilly. You don't want a hot marathon, so they're going to be happy about that. I'm giving them.
Why don't you want a hot marathon, Hardy?
Because it's tough to stay hydrated.
Thank you. See? So we're there.
Hold on.
And then you don't look as good in the pictures in Kenmore Square.
Thank you.
Earl in Framingham is on the phone. He has something to tell us about the marathon. Yes, Earl.
Yes, how you doing today? How you doing, guys?
Good.
Great day for marathon.
Sure.
There's a girl in Framingham. Her name is Tara Foynes, and she's running for Family Promises Metro West. It's her first marathon. And my late mother, who passed away a year ago, March 5th, gave her a bracelet before March 5th, of course, last year. And she said it's going to bring you good luck. And she texted me yesterday and told me she's going to wear the bracelet today for good luck that my late mother, Francine Peretti, gave her.
That's awesome. Hardy doesn't care, but I think that's awesome.
No,
that's a beautiful thing.
I do care, and that's an actual real story, and I thank you for that, Earl. Thanks for checking in with us.
See? That's what it's all about, Hardy.
She's running for Family Promise Metro West.
Gotcha. Thank you. Good luck to her.
Good luck, and condolences on your mother, Earl. And that's a real. See, that's real.
That's what it's all about.
You telling people to drink water feels less real or less necessary.
Okay,
Dan.
All
That's all. Okay.
Yep. He's going to be that way today. Fine. What happened last night?
No, we're not doing that yet. Tim McCone.
Yeah. Hey, good luck, Timmy.
From the. I can't believe this is. What are we? 15 minutes in. Tim McCone is running the marathon today. From the midday show. We want him to come sit down with us beforehand. Here's what I found out. I was speaking with one of the awesome volunteers, one of the people who put their time, effort in all year long. It's not just about the one day, Dan. They work on this marathon nonstop year round. It's a full-time job for them, and they love it. They just love it because they understand what it's about and its uniqueness.
Now,
is that better?
I feel like you're making fun of me a little bit.
Is that better?
Yeah, it is, actually.
I
You know
was-
what? I prefer that. I prefer you make fun of me all day to acknowledge people out there.
Okay. So I asked a guy, I'm like, hey, we want to have McBone come by, sit down with us. And he went, ugh. I said, well, I'm not a fan of Tim McCone. He said, no. He said, the runner's stage like 7/10 of a mile from here. So it's not going to be easy for him to get here. I said, well, he's already running 26.2. What's another,
Right.
1.4, coming here and going back? I understand if Tim doesn't want to do that, so he may call in. But here's the other thing. McCone said, they have me on the final wave of buses at around 8:45. So I'll come by during the final hour if that works. I thought the runners got here like super early.
Depends on what wave you're in.
Okay, so if he is, does that mean he's getting here at 8:45 or leaving downtown? Leaving downtown at 8:45?
There won't be any traffic, though.
No, there won't be any traffic. It just seems like getting a late start. For that last wave of buses and runners to get down here.
That's actually good, though, that it doesn't have to be here that early.
Maybe, I guess. Yeah, perhaps. Maybe
There's
it's
a lot of sitting around and just hydrating.
Well, it's very good.
So I can check this for you, Hardy, right here. Hold on.
We should mention right now, and we'll mention it periodically throughout the morning. If you haven't checked the news or anything this morning, Pope Francis passed away.
Yes.
And that news broke at around 7:35. The Vatican announced it was 7:35, I guess.
The day after Easter.
Vatican
How about
time,
that, huh?
day after Easter, after he had made appearances yesterday. And I'm not being glib or trying to make a joke, even from the Vatican. They were referring to his mode of transportation as the Pope-mobile, and it made his rounds. And so that is going to be dominating news coverage today.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, there was one soccer match that has been postponed. I think I'm not sure who was supposed to be playing today, but if you're a follower of that league, I'm sure.
I think the Italian league is shut down.
Serie A fixtures
I was going to say, Steve Pagliuca owns one of those teams, right?
have been postponed. Is that true?
Yeah, one of the Italian teams.
Saw him sitting next to Wick yesterday at the Celtics game, at least for a little while. By
the way,
go ahead.
They start at 9:06 as the wheelchair division men, 9:09 is the women.
Okay.
And the last wave goes off, wave 4 at 11:15 a.m.
Okay.
So if Tim gets here, he'll be here at 9:15,
11:15.
Yeah.
Wow, that's okay.
He used to start at noon. The race used to start at noon.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
okay.
So that's that is us setting the scene for you here in Hopkinton as we are broadcasting live from the starting line. And Dan Roche and I will be here all morning. We're going to be joined by people periodically throughout the morning who are either in the wheelchair division or running the race today. And we'll be speaking with the race director,
Dave McGilvery.
Yeah, I believe that's going to be about an hour from now. Ryan Johnston holding things down in the studio. I imagine, Ryan, will be discussing a great deal this morning the Celtics' first playoff game, if that works for you back at Command Central.
Really?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, what do you want to talk
He's
Bruins?
got nothing but NHL scores.
You want to,
Hardy?
You want to talk breakup day for the Bruins last week? What else do you want to discuss?
I don't know. I haven't seen anything in like 6 months other than the Bruins game. So,
well, we can work our way through.
Really is amazing how little you notice in the rest of the world when you're doing this job. Like
Right.
legitimately, it's like all you're doing is like game. Start prepping for the next game over and over and over again.
Did you like it?
Well,
I love it.
Okay,
I
good.
absolutely love it.
Did you find yourself, at least at the beginning, Ryan, maybe over prepping a little bit?
Maybe a little bit, but even so, like I was learning the league as we were seeing teams for the first time, even down toward the end of the season. There are teams we hadn't seen yet, so
Okay.
you just kind of had to always be in that mode. But that's part of the fun of it.
And did Beers at some point tell you to knock it off? You were getting a little too cute with it, or did
He didn't like throw my notes over the balcony or anything like that, like that old Mike Orman, Tommy Heinsohn story.
Yes, which is a great story, which apparently Tommy did. when Mike showed up to call his first game with him. He took all his notes. He said, "We're just going to talk.
That's awesome.
We're just going to talk."
I love that.
Get rid of all that crap, kid.
Because you get it in your head. Ryan knows. You get all this prep and everything else, all these notes in your head. Like I did all my prep work that you just threw away right off the top today when I was thanking volunteers and things like that. So
Yeah.
I wrote down, make sure you hydrate. First thing I did.
Ryan,
Had to write that down, did you?
I'm ignoring that. Ryan, you like everybody else, huge NFL fan. Did you watch less football this past year?
Much.
Wow.
Like even Sunday afternoons when I was home, I was buried in my computer with the TV on in the background. I mean, it was just you just weren't paying a lot of attention to it.
All right. Well, the Celtics, you should know that they won the championship last year, and they've been playing.
I do remember that. That was before I got the job. So
they've been playing well this season too. So if it came as a surprise to you that they were in the playoffs that started yesterday, it shouldn't be a surprise.
Were you at the game last night? I was.
No, I was not at the game last night. I was
Do your job.
I was doing family time on Easter.
Of course, I wasn't.
I was spending time with my family.
I don't know what that is anymore.
No, okay. All right. But we'll start there next with the Celtics and what happened last night. As we continue, hear from Hopkinton on Toucher and Hardy here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Did you catch the game last night?
It's Toucher and Hardy with Hardy, Dan Roche, and Ryan Johnston. This morning, Dan and I are live at the starting line in Hopkinton for the Boston Marathon. And what happened last night is brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happened. So change your lettuce and change your life with Dr. Matthew Lepresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR. Ryan, what do you got for us?
Game 1, Hardy, of the first-round playoff series between the Celtics and the Orlando Magic yesterday at TD Garden, and a big day for Derek White.
Drew Holiday into the front court. Hand off Derek White. Pretty good look. Left side three. Score it. Ooh. And the foul.
They like that play. But, you know, Sean, I'm telling you, if you look at this play again, this handoff, is this an illegal pick right there? Comes across, hits him with the body.
Now, let me answer that right now, because I'm not sure if I know exactly what play they're referring to there, but if they're asking about was it an illegal pick set by a member of the Orlando Magic, the answer is yes, because there were 50 of them in the game yesterday.
Derek White ended up with 7 threes, 30 points, led the Celtics in both of those categories. Got some help from Peyton Pritchard as well, the 6th Man of the Year nominee.
Wendell Carter doesn't look at the rim. Hand to Caleb Houston. He turns the corner. Blocked from behind. Sam Hauser got his hand on that. And loose ball gobbled up by Horford, who races into the front court. Lead from Pritchard. Pull up three. Got it.
Man, that's solid. That is solid. And you know you don't give credit to here Hauser for coming up with that block on the backside, getting the ball to Al. Al leading the break. Pritchard being the recipient.
Celtics it was a close game at halftime. They pull away in the third quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, Jason Tatum gets knocked down on a flagrant foul. Said afterwards, he's doing okay. Take a breath.
Jason, first of all, how's the wrist? What happened there on that play?
It's all right. I just fell on it.
Jason, did you get an x-ray on that? What was the result of that?
Yeah, it's clean. It's good.
It's clean.
Okay, it's clean. All right, good. So this was driving me a little nutty, watching the game yesterday. And I should have just listened to Grandy and Max because I don't know what the TV announcers were looking at. They were completely perplexed as to why the officials were looking at it for a flagrant. Now, I'm not arguing that this call should be a flagrant 100%. It's not without its ambiguity. I'm not saying that. But when you watched it, just the first time you watched it live, it's like, oh, he took an awkward fall to the floor when it happened, and then you see on the replay that Caldwell Pope is not playing the ball whatsoever. He goes up, I believe, with his left hand and gets Jason Tatum's right arm right at about
around the elbow.
I was going to say closer to the elbow than the wrist. Okay. But knocks it in an attempt to push his body away from the basket or, stop him from taking the shot. He was not playing the ball. And if you do that and you spin somebody and that player is in a vulnerable position in the air, yeah, that is grounds at the very least to look at it for a flagrant. And why the TV announcers couldn't see that or wouldn't recognize that, I don't understand.
It's because they're all biased, Hardy.
I think, to me, Caldwell Pope, who's won a ring, had this in his mind from the opening whistle, was to get physical and to show how tough the Magic are.
I'm sorry.
We got a couple of Blue Group members here.
The Blue Man Group is here.
Yes.
All right. I don't know if they're running the marathon. It looks like they. I don't think so. I don't think they're actually running the marathon. But
if they are, tell them to hydrate.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ryan.
I mean, I would say you're not coming on the radio, but they don't speak. They don't speak. So okay.
But I felt like Pope played that way. And here's a concern, right?
Yeah.
Is that right afterwards he got 2 free throws and missed them both after the flagrant foul.
So
right?
you were worried about his wrist because he missed the free
No,
throws.
but I'm just worried about it, long term. These are some of the things that you're looking at when it comes to what's going to derail the Celtics from repeating. It's going to be these types of things that you have to worry about. It's Jaylen Brown's right knee. It's Peyton Pritchard took a hip check, basically, and was limping a little bit. Those are the kind of things that, okay, what's going to happen to this Celtics team? Well, what can happen to this Celtics team as they go about and try to get 15 more wins?
Well,
that's all.
I think for his purposes, it may have helped him a little bit because he finally hit a three-pointer after that. After he was, I think, 0 for 6 in the game up until that point. Finally hit a three-pointer after he was, he went to the ground. But I don't think he's injured. I don't think it's fine. I don't think it should be an issue that the flagrant was issued, or at the very least that they looked at it. I mean, what are we doing? Yeah, if you're Caldwell Pope and you go up and you're not playing the ball and you're
Right.
just grabbing the guy's arm and spinning him so that he falls awkwardly, yeah, that's grounds to at least look at it for a flagrant. And I'm not a green teamer. I'm not a hometown guy. And yeah, there are hard fouls in the playoffs all the time, but it's not something that should really be an issue in terms of whether or not it gets looked at least from the very start.
Absolutely.
All right.
That's what they're facing. Orlando is known as a physical team, right? A physical team up front. They're going to try to bang you. They're going to try to beat you. They're not going to beat you with a 3. So I mean, you look at it. The only way that they can win this series is to do things like that.
Yeah.
Right? To try to derail them and have Banchero go off or somebody else go off.
Right. Ryan, what else from the game yesterday? Anything?
Let's hear a little bit from Derek White.
Yes.
I just try to stay aggressive. Obviously, they get a lot of attention, so whenever I got opportunity, I got to be ready to go and stay ready. I mean, my teammates do a great job of finding me and keeping me involved in offense, so it's a lot of fun when you got it going, and we got a long way to go.
So here's something I noticed about Derek White yesterday, and really Celtics in general, for a team that was supposed to be going up against, and they were, a very tough, physical Orlando Magic team, known for their defense, made their bones on defense this season, not as skilled offensively. Celtics showed up on the defensive end of the court yesterday.
Especially like White and Holiday. Holiday, playoff Drew shows up when they need it, a big steal, things like that. He's one of those guys that fits so well with this team, as we saw last year in the Indiana Pacers series when he basically won, that game 3 for them with a steal and late and everything else. I just, like, you look at these guys, and that's kind of what we're seeing right now is the beauty of a team, right? That's the one thing you notice about everything that they do on a night when Tatum and Brown were both off, especially from 3. You see these guys go out and just do what they have to do to help each other. And Derek White is the ultimate sacrifice for the team. He's like, yeah, it was great that I scored 30, but if I score 5 next game, it doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah.
All that matters is we get the win. And you see that, and what makes them so deep and so good is that they're 9 players legit deep, and anybody can step up on any good night, right? Al Horford could step up in game 2, and that's kind of what we saw. And what impressed me the most about this Celtics team last year was from game 1 of the playoffs to game, 16th win, they were better and better and better. And I'm curious to see what we see if we see that same path as they play together here one more time.
Well, yeah, you're gonna obviously hopefully see Tatum have a better shooting night. I think you're probably going to get more out of Jaylen Brown, and you won't need 30 points out of Derek White. But for this series specifically, if you want to get this thing done with and settle in and not have what has happened in the past, say against the Atlanta Hawks, where you screw around and you allow a team who's not as good as you to push you to a game 6 or something, you just lose time to get ready for the next series. What I'm sure they're planning on doing based on the success of yesterday, these guys want to play physical. You play physical back at them, and more importantly, you keep the defensive pressure up on a team that is already probably feeling a little puny when it comes to their offense. They know they're not as skilled as you.
Yep.
As tough as it might be for them to try and hang with a team like the Celtics and score points, make it even tougher. Al Horford was doing it. Derek White, in addition to his 30, he was doing it. Drew Holiday, as you mentioned. Sam Hauser, all these guys coming through big, key defensive moments and not getting thrown off by at least too much. I think Jaylen Brown was getting to the point where he was going to be thrown off his game and irritated to the point where it was going to affect him because I mean, the picks they're setting yesterday and some of the fouls that weren't being called, I like that for playoff basketball.
It's like playoff hockey, right? They let the boys play.
For the most part,
Right?
you let them play, but moving picks and extending the arms on a pick and knocking a guy down, I'm like, well, now what are we doing? Now this is starting to resemble something other than NBA basketball, but okay. As long as that's how it's going to be called, treat it the way the Celtics did, take it right back at them. Don't give them any quarter defensively. You just keep playing hard, aggressive defense. Don't let those guys get easy shots, and just let them know you're going to have to bring that type of defensive effort every single game. We're still going to score over 100 and win by 17.
And that's what we saw last year. So as they got better from game 1 to 16, the wins at that Indiana series, the Eastern Conference Finals, they won it with their defense. And then they took it right to Dallas and Luka Doncic and got him so frustrated that he's begging for calls and things like that. That's to see that continuation yesterday from last year. I mean, last year, yes, they'll all say that, but seeing that group being able to do what they're doing with a year's experience. Derek White talked about this last night after the game too. Is they know each other so well now by being together for the second year here that this is what they're able to do in order to beat teams. No matter what we have to do, who does it or what have you, we'll beat you first with defense, and then anybody else can chip in with offense.
Brian, I want you to know that the Blue Man Group is still here, like doing some type of silliness for the cameras or something. I don't know if it's the actual Blue Man Group. I don't know. One of them came and sat down
as we were talking,
2-3 feet away from me, like at our guest position.
But he walked away upset because I think they're Orlando Magic fans, right? Naturally, because they're blue.
Okay, very good. And maybe a little upset that I didn't acknowledge him and get all thrown off by the fact that one of these strange alien type creatures is sitting down with me. You're not going to talk.
Right.
So why would I acknowledge you?
Exactly.
Yeah, should have thrown a headset on him and press,
if Marcel Marceau
press
sat
the
down,
issue.
I would have ignored him too. I'm like, okay, this is radio. The Blue Man Group,
That's a
great.
good reference. What year was that? 1912. For our audience out there.
The French master of mime? How dare you? Everyone knows who Marcel Marceau is.
Sure.
Shields and Yarnell?
Yep.
I can bring out a million mime references.
You want me to bring out Abbott and Costello when I talk baseball now? Hold on.
Yeah. Can you do the whole Who's on First routine?
I know. I'd love to, though. So hard.
All right.
Naturally.
Let's. Who? They're doing Blue Man silliness. Okay. I'm not going to let it affect a great day here in Hopkinton. At the starting line, sun is coming up. I'm going to go find a little patch of sun to stand in and warm up a little bit
We'll
here.
be back with much more from the 129th edition of the Boston Marathon when we continue from the starting line here in Hopkinton as they take it 26.2 miles into Boston later on this morning.
That's fine. He can do that, and we'll do the headlines now. I'm not going to say anything else. That's good. That's fine. Good. Thank you.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Celtics beat the Magic 103-86 in Game 1 of their series at TD Garden yesterday. Derek White, 30 points to lead the way. Game 2 of the best-of-7 is Wednesday night. Other Game 1 winners yesterday, Oklahoma City over Memphis. Cleveland top Miami, and Golden State a winner last night over Houston, 95-85. Peyton Pritchard nominated for 6th Man of the Year yesterday as the NBA announced its finalists for its season awards. Red Sox will play the White Sox this morning at Fenway Park. Traditional Patriots Day, 11:10 a.m. start. Sox 4-game winning streak ended in an 8-4 loss to Chicago yesterday. Stanley Cup playoffs yesterday. Carolina went over New Jersey. Toronto beat Ottawa, and Vegas beat Minnesota. All of those were Game 1s. Headlines are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Ryan Johnston on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. We got more headlines at 7 o'clock.
All right, I have maybe the best news in the morning. Here from the starting line in Hopkinton, where we are broadcasting live. Hardy and Dan Roche, one of the TV stations here, one of the lesser stations in Boston. WBZ TV Channel 4 is the best, of course.
Thank you.
With Dan Roche here with us this morning.
Thank you.
One of the other TV stations decided to play small market TV and have the Blue Man Group on for what seemed like an eternity, and all the hijinks with these Blue Man fellas, sitting down at our broadcast table, we're in the middle of a segment, and giving you the non-blinking stare, because you see, Dan, I think their origin story is maybe they're not from here, maybe they're aliens of some kind, they're not of this world, and they kind of don't understand, they kind of live in their own reality, and in reality, I was annoyed. I wanted them to leave, and now they left, so that's good. No more Blue Man Group, but they were doing like a skit, like a sketch. It was like it was hijinks.
Meanwhile, we're hours away from the start of the 129th edition of the Boston Marathon.
Yeah,
awesome.
You got the whole schedule there in front of you?
Oh, I can get it for you.
Yeah, why don't you do that while Ryan takes us through what else happened last night?
Well, over at Fenway Park yesterday, Hardy, there was Red Sox looking for their 5th straight win. Tanner Houck on the mound. He gave up a 2-run home run in the top of the first innings. It didn't get off to a great start, but only surrendered 2 more hits the rest of the way. 7 strikeouts over 6 innings. Things are looking good, especially after Wilyer Abreu took care of business.
High fly ball right field. Let's see if this one carries. Palacios back it up. Yes, it happened again. 3-run homer.
So okay, now if Fred were here, he would be doing his impromptu home run call. Dan, would you be able to do that for us, please?
Nelly.
Okay, so let's re-rack it. Let's re-rack the home run call.
I can do it that way.
No, you just do it over the top. You do your own home run call. It doesn't have to be specific, but it's Wilyer Abreu, and it's a Red Sox player hitting a home run. So go ahead, Dan. Just whatever you feel, I want you to say as you hear the home run call. Let's hear it again, please.
High fly ball right field. Let's see if this one carries. Palacios back it up.
Will it?
Yes.
Will it? Will ya?
3-run homer.
Home run for Wilyer Abreu with a Boston accent and everything. Gone. He's a daytime player, I tell you that much, Hardy. He hits well on the day side.
That's good. That's good. By the way, what am I hearing? Is somebody's speaker on? Is that mine?
I don't know. I can hear it too.
Oh, yeah, we're getting a little delay.
We're getting a little feedback there.
Can I tell you one thing to back that up?
Okay.
Wilyer Abreu was batting .355 in 11 day games this season, 11 for 31 with 4 homers and 11 RBI, compared to .231 in 11 night games.
See if
what is it about a night for him?
Some sort of night blindness issue?
Yes.
It's like one of those people that you're only allowed to drive during the daytime?
That's right. Oh, yeah, you have that little restriction on your license? Okay. All right, so good for the Red Sox.
So it was great. For 6 innings, it was awesome. And then the bullpen took over in the 7th.
Uh-oh.
Caro in through the middle, and it's going to get through to center field. 2 runs will score, and the White Sox retake the lead here in the 7th. The rookie, Edgar Caro.
That made it 5-4, and it got worse from there.
Vaughn with a drive to left field, attacking the monster up at the wall, and it is out of here. Andrew Vaughn, his 3rd home run of the season. A 2-run shot here in this 8th inning, and the White Sox take a 7-4 lead.
Ended up 8-4. Red Sox bullpen surrendered 6 runs in the last 3 innings to blow a 4-2 lead, and the 4-game winning streak comes to an end.
And you know what? That was Liam Hendrick's first appearance in 2 years, right?
Yes.
2 or 3 years. So felt bad for him after overcoming so much, and wham, you go out and you kind of have a tough start. But that's the first time. I'll give that a little blip. That's just a blip for the bullpen, because that's the first time this year that the Red Sox lost a game in which they led after 6. So they had been 10-0 coming in. So the bullpen has been good.
They haven't led after 6 a ton. So
11 times now. So they were 10-0 coming in. That's a lot.
How many games have they played?
23 games.
Okay. All right. I'm not being negative.
Yeah, you are.
No,
Yes, you are.
They had won 4 in a row up to that point against the powerhouses of Tampa Bay and the White Sox. So, good. Be nice to get the win today and not have to
Yes, you have to win today.
Yeah, well, not split a series against the White Sox after you lost a series.
The White Sox are what, 4-16 or 5-16, and 3 of those wins have come against the Red Sox. You don't want that.
I keep hearing the phrase historically bad on paper.
Yeah,
historically bad.
Yep.
On paper, the Chicago White Sox. So, all right, they're going to win some games. Don't let them split the series with you. Get the win today. Who's going today, Dan?
Walker Buehler.
Oh, good.
Anyone?
Very good. Towing the rubber at 11:10 a.m.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. Patriots Day start. That's another nice, unique part of Boston right there, Hardy. Long marathon day.
Why did they
it's a great Monday. You ever watch the marathon as a spectator? Do you ever do that?
I mean, no. I've always been working it whenever I've seen it, and I've spectated. That helicopter was really low. I've looked at it, but not as a fan. No, just always, working it in some aspect.
It's really cool. It's like so. Last 2 years, my daughter ran it.
If my daughter were running it, I would watch it as a fan and a spectator, of course.
Watched in Wellesley, and then drove Route 9 and got to the top of Heartbreak Hill, in Newton, and then drove Route 9 and got to the finish line and watched her finish.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's awesome. And the one thing too, when you run it, is like the crowd. It never stops. The entire time you're running the 26 miles, it never stops. You always. And the other thing, my wife used to do this. She ran it 9 times. Is would write her name on her arm or leg or whatever, and so people cheer your name. They see Hardy, 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 go! Come on, Hardy.
Oh, nice.
It makes you feel good. I'm sorry, I know you don't want to feel good during a race or anything like that, and enjoy the day and enjoy the experience of the marathon.
Not true.
So it's pretty cool.
Not true. Is there anywhere along the route where there are not people watching?
No.
There's people watching the
yes,
entire.
At the bottom of this hill down here.
That's why I asked, because
everybody jumps into the woods and goes the pee or poop. Because there's so much water in them.
You feel like you're overhydrated.
Exactly.
I feel like every few miles there should be like 100 yards where there's no people so that, you can have a little bit of privacy.
Yes, exactly. It's hysterical. That's the one place. I said to my wife, what are they doing there? Oh, boy.
So, yeah, this is the one stretch that, I've seen from the starting line area, and we are, 50 yards from the official start line of the race? Is that where we are?
I think it's less than that almost.
Okay, all right, we're very close. But during this, you would think here and at the finish line where you would have the most people packed in, not true. There's very few people watching from this vantage point. But you're saying for the rest of the route, once you get past this first, quarter mile or whatever,
yeah,
there are people lining the entire route.
Yeah, and the cheering never stops. It's there's marathons where people will tell you that there's nobody out on the course and things like that. This is and it gets you through because, let's face it, like mile 12, 13, 14, you're starting to feel it. I remember when I ran it way back when, you know what I mean, is Gil Santos was doing the call on WBZ Radio AM. And he was calling the finish, and everyone started close to the same time. He was calling the finish when we were like mile 11, and I'm like, "Oh, does it make you feel like I still have 15 miles left to go?" And those people are just walking on sunshine. You know what I mean? The way that they run, it's crazy.
I feel like I would need that for the training runs. I would need somebody to encourage me, and in addition to probably not being able to do it, and not having the wherewithal to actually. Complete the training and then run the marathon itself. What's always stuck in my mind as the toughest part of it would be the training, the long solo training runs.
Especially in New England with the weather. I remember running to the Stop and Shop from my house in North Andover to the Stop and Shop in North Reading. And I'm coming back and I'm like, I'm bored. I've listened to all the music I can listen to.
And
yes.
What do you do? I can't be alone with my own thoughts for that amount of time.
Yes, I can understand that.
That's a bad place to be.
And there's no, the darkness. Like if you run in the afternoon, it's like it gets dark at 4. So in the morning, it's hard to run. It's just it's a chore. That's why I think this day it's almost easier. It's like you've done all your prep work. It's almost like an athlete. You've done all your prep work. You've got everything done, and then you go. Because I ran a 20-miler. And they called it the first time the Eastern Seaboard 3-state 20-miler. We started in Kittery, Maine, went through Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and finished in Salisbury, Massachusetts. So it was 3 states.
That's pretty cool.
And it wasn't because it was one of those, so you run it 3 weeks before. So it was one of those like late March days where you got up in the morning and it was like this. It was cold, right? So you have sweats on and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
And then in the afternoon, the sun came out and it was 70 degrees. So I'm not a fast runner, as you can imagine. They ran out of water and Gatorade at the end near the station. So I ran into a convenience store and begged them, could you just give me a cup of water? And it took me an hour and a half after I finished to just, I had to sit. And I ended up going to like Burger King and eating half a burger. So that's why I said to you at the top of the show, when I ran the marathon, I walked, cup of water, cup of Gatorade, walked another, stopped each mile for the first 5 or 6 miles. And then by the time I got to Fenway and everything, I could thoroughly enjoy it because I was hydrated and ready to go.
Gotcha. And I'm guessing that entire route of that 20-mile, that 3-state 20-miler, the entire route was not lined with people?
No. No, but at least the ocean was there, so it was fun.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It was a nice day, so it was
nice.
Cool.
All right.
Oh, by the way, do you want to know the schedule?
How about on the other side?
All right.
All right. Yeah. And Ryan, anything else happened last night that we need to be aware of other than the other NBA playoff games?
Yeah, that was about it.
All right. We'll do those later. There's a couple of interesting games on yesterday
Warriors
and
Rockets,
Saturday.
right? That was the late one.
Yeah. All right. So
I hate Jimmy Butler.
Okay.
I hate everything about him and what he did this year.
I don't like you using the H word.
All right, I don't like.
I don't care for that.
All right.
You don't like him.
Yeah, because he held out of his team for millions and millions of dollars until they traded him. And then he signed a brand new contract for $100 million more, and now he's this playoff hero.
Why do you have to be so negative?
Right. He's playing well. He wants to play basketball. He wants to. Yeah. Don't you want to be appreciated? He wants to be appreciated. He wants to be a part of winning. Don't you like winning?
They didn't like the precedent he set in the NBA. They don't like your team sit out.
He set the precedent
for this time. He did.
It's Jimmy
Never
Butler.
Never had a player exercise his power like that.
No one's ever done this in the history of the National Basketball Association. Oh.
We get Dave McGilvery coming up.
Yeah, he'll be joining us shortly. So we'll get the headlines here in a few minutes from Ryan Johnson, who's back in Waltham. But Dan Roche and I are at the starting line in Hopkinton for the 129th running of the Boston Marathon. So happy to be here. The sun's coming up. It's going to be a great day, and we're here for it on the Toucher and Hardy here on the Sports Hub. You betcha. Okay, more coming up.
103-86 win over the Orlando Magic yesterday at TD Garden. Derek White, 7 threes, led the Celtics with 30 points. Game 2 of the best-of-7 series is Wednesday. Other Game 1s yesterday. Oklahoma City blew out Memphis 131-80. Cleveland beat Miami by 21. Golden State a 95-85 win in Game 1 over Houston. NBA yesterday announcing finalists for its season awards. Only Celtic nominated is Peyton Pritchard for the 6th Man of the Year. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic are the finalists for League MVP. Red Sox 4-game winning streak ended in an 8-4 loss to the White Sox yesterday at Fenway after Boston's bullpen gave up 6 runs in the final 3 innings. Same teams play the traditional Patriots Day 11:10 a.m. start. Walker Buehler on the mound. Stanley Cup playoff game 1s yesterday. Carolina over New Jersey. Toronto a 6-2 win last night over Ottawa. Vegas beat Minnesota 4-2. And today is the 129th running of the Boston Marathon. Headlines are brought to you by Gulf. Gulf is proud to fuel the road ahead. Whether it's a marathon, a road trip, or your drive home, it all starts at Gulf. I'm Ryan Johnston on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. More headlines in around 30 minutes.
Some people play the game.
Jaylen Brown. Blocked by Horford.
Some talk about
Let's welcome to the Sports Hub Celtics show, by the way. Jim Murray, Chris Gasper.
The Sports Hub Celtics show with Murray and Gasper. Saturdays at noon on the Sports Hub. Live from the start of the Boston Marathon in Hopkinton, Hardy and Dan Roche getting you ready for another huge sports day in the city. Presented by Planet Fitness on the Sports Hub.
98.5 The Sports Hub. Hardy and Dan Roche are live at the starting line here, and I believe Dave McGilvery is going to join us right now.
Yes.
Where it's,
I spend my Thanksgivings with Dave.
What?
Yep, so there's a great race. Excuse me, Hardy.
This sounds made up already, but go ahead.
There's a great race in Andover called the Feaster 5 on Thanksgiving morning.
Okay.
And about anywhere from 8 to 12,000 show up, and you run or you walk, and it's a 5-miler, a 5-miler, a 5K, or a walk, like a 2.1-mile walk.
Okay.
And it used to be everybody who finished got a free apple pie.
Oh.
And
like a real apple pie or like a table talk?
It started as a real apple pie, and by the end it was table talk, right? But I like table talk pies better than I think real apple pies.
Too much handed out stacks of McDonald's apple pies at the
exactly.
So molten lava hot.
Right.
Yeah.
So Dave runs the Feaster 5 too, and does that with us. And we join him when we come up and we say hi. The couple, local celebrities. Dave, how are you? Sit over there with us.
Hey.
So we run the Feaster 5 as a family. We've been doing it for, I think, Dave, we've been doing the Feaster 5 for 25 years, I think, as a family. Pam and I, yeah. Yep.
We're going to get Dave's headset on here, and we'll speak with him here as everyone else is getting ready for the marathon here this morning in Hopkinton at the starting line. And Dave, Dan and I were just discussing, it's Hardy, by the way, and you know Dan Roche. Is his mic up there, Tyler? There we go.
2, 1, 2.
There we go.
There you go.
Now we got him. Dan and I were just discussing your name is kind of synonymous with the Boston Marathon, but in terms of the official title, how do we refer to you these days?
Well, it's changed over the last few years. I went from race director to race course director. Now it's senior race advisor.
Okay.
But how do you advise? What do you advise, Dave?
Well, whenever anyone asks me if they need guidance or recommendations or insight into any of this, I'm available.
So if someone has like an idea, it's like, hey, maybe we should make this longer or shorter. What do you think, Dave?
Well,
keep it at 26.2?
I'll agree with the shorter one.
From somebody who literally ran across the country, I find that hard to believe. I find it hard to believe that you would be in favor of shortening any type of race.
You got to remember, I just turned 70 years old, so things are getting a little bit more challenging. But all kidding aside, no, I mean this is a labor of love, this race, and it's been in my DNA since 80% of the time I've been alive, and. So for me, running in it and helping to run it, it doesn't get any better than that.
What's the go ahead, Dan.
No, go ahead.
Well, what's the biggest change over the years that you've noticed about the race? If something has just changed drastically, when you say back in the day, I'm trying to explain radio to people. I'm like, we used to cut and splice tape, and now everything is digital. What's the biggest change in the race?
Well, there's a lot of changes and a lot of similarities. We want to maintain the tradition of the race. The course is the same, and that kind of thing. But field size has changed significantly. When I first ran my first Boston Marathon back in 1973, there was 7,000 runners, and today we have a little north of 32,000 runners. So that makes the challenge that much greater. This race, like a lot of races, is all about two things. One is time, how much time you have to conduct the event, and two is space, how much space you have. We only have 39 feet at the starting line of the Boston Marathon. New York City Marathon has 17 lanes on the Verrazano Bridge. So field size is definitely one. Two, the three biggies are medical and technology and security. So obviously the security one, everyone knows why, and the enhanced level of security is second to none since 2013. Medical, we have 1,800 members of the medical team working the race. So there's some significant coverage there. And there's a lot of people who run in this race who've never run a marathon before because of, the charity programs and things like that. And then, the whole technology side of the world, everything chip technology and people tracking, all of it. So, even though those are great deliverables, there's expectations now. And if you don't deliver on the expectation, even though it's an enhancement, it's a wouldn't it be nice versus a necessity. Right. People are depending on, what we say we can deliver. So technology has played a significant role in changes with the race.
Yeah, and the cool thing is, so my daughter, I told you, ran it the last 2 years. Yep. You can, so we would go down to Wellesley, watch her passes. Technology now, you can really have a good estimate of when she's going to come by you, which you couldn't do that years ago. And then you can go up to Newton when she's going to come by you and everything else too. But Dave, what I like about this in compares to Hardy is that, Hardy loves golf, right? So the Masters, let's say the U.S. Open at the Country Club in Brookline. The beauty of this is that you get your elite runners come in all their divisions, and that's great, and they have ceremonies and everything else. But unlike the Country Club in Brookline, you can go out and play the Country Club in Brookline here. Everybody who's running here is running the same course as the elite runners, which makes it a unique experience in that way too.
Yeah, I mean, this is to qualify for the Boston Marathon is like qualifying for the Olympic Games for the amateurs, and to be able to play on the same court, the same field, the same stage as the best in the world, you just feel included. And it's funny because I always say, even though the athletes up front are running really hard and intense, they're going through a certain level of discomfort. That's no different than the people in the back of the pack who are going slower, but they're out there that much longer, twice as long. I've run 2 hours 29 in this race, and today when I run, I'll be just entering Wellesley.
That's how I said to Hardy earlier. Hearing Gil Santos call it on the radio when you're at mile 12 sucks.
All of a sudden I'm hearing who just won the race, and I got half of it still to go. Pretty depressing, isn't it? A sobering thought, but that's what age gets you to.
It's funny, you mentioned the starting line, and for years I've seen the race from the finish line and from points along the route, and watching on TV, and any other event that you go to and you see for the first time, what is startling is the size of the staging area here and what you have to deal with at the start. And Hopkinton has been, your partner in this for decades now, and I'm sure they're great to work with, but it's got to be a logistical nightmare in figuring out how to get all these people through this starting line, 30,000 runners. There's not a lot of space here.
No, there isn't, and that's why we do the wave stops. On the one hand, I like it tight like this because I can see everything.
Yeah.
And, if it's spread out all over the place, there's just a lot of moving parts, and it's harder to control. Whereas in a tight space, it's easy to control but it's harder to get that many people through the pipeline. So we come up with the wave starts and whatnot. One interesting thing is, I met one year we had the 39 feet, and I was standing on the starters platform, and they're running down the hill here, and all of a sudden, I didn't realize it, but it gets narrower the further down you go, about 400 meters. So as they were running down, they were getting gridlocked. So I said the only way to prevent that from happening is to narrow the starting line of the Boston Marathon, which is the narrowest starting line already, even more. So we made it 25 feet instead of 39 feet. So it takes longer for them to cross the starting line. But once they cross it, they can run unimpeded. So it doesn't affect their time. It doesn't slow them down.
It's like the old Boston Garden rink, right? Smaller and smaller compared to the Olympic,
thing,
right?
you know.
But that's the craziest fix that makes the most sense. You know, oh, it's too narrow. What do we do? Make it even narrower back there.
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
Artie, can I brag about Dave here for a minute? I know you got to get going, Dave, but how much time do we have?
Yeah, how much?
We okay with you?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So Dave is running today. So he used to run. We'll let him explain it, but he used to run after everyone was gone at night and everything. This is the 53rd time he's running the Boston Marathon today, right? He's got a Finish Strong Foundation that raises millions of dollars. He's written children's books. He was valedictorian at Melrose High School, Medford, sorry.
What a gaffe. What a faux pas. You should apologize.
No, he's done so much that he's like synonymous with the marathon. You mentioned. But the one cool thing that my wife loved the idea too is he's got supporters medals. And explain to those listening that are coming here on their buses or families that are out there getting ready for this, explain what your idea with the supporters medals are and how people can get them, because it's really cool.
Well, one of the things that runners their goal is cross the finish line and get a medal. Symbolic of achievement, that they worked hard, earned the right, crossed the finish line, got a medal, and they went home feeling good about themselves. But there's a lot of other people that helped them get to they might have gotten themselves to the finish line, but a lot of people helped them get to the starting line, made sacrifices so that they can train, and whether it's, spouses or children or coaches or mentors or whoever it might be. But at the end of the day, they don't get anything. And so I used to get calls from runners or emails from runners saying, hey, any chance you have any extra medals lying around? I said, why? They said, because I gave my medal to my father, who was my supporter, and now I don't have a medal. I'm wondering if you have any extra ones. Or someone actually put one in their grandfather's casket when he passed away, just because that grandfather was such a supporter. And I thought, the supporters should also get something too.
Yeah.
So I just come up with the idea of a supporters medal, and we were selling them at the expo this past few days, and it went off the charts.
I knew it would.
People absolutely love the concept, and the money's going to my foundation, of course. But so now what happens is somebody can run the race, get their medal, and then take out of their pocket one or two supporters medals, leave the security area, there's their wife or there's their kid, and put the medal around their neck too.
What a great idea.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Dave McGillivray, who has been part of this Boston Marathon for so long, you're going to
That's a picture of the supporters medal.
Okay, that's good for the radio. Thanks.
Isn't that awesome? Yeah. All right, I'll tweet it out.
Okay, do that. Do that, so that everybody can see.
You're going to be
it.
like that? Fine.
I'm not being like that. Weather-wise, is this as close to what you want as in terms of, right now I would say it's maybe a bit on the chilly side, but what you're expecting for the rest of the day, how does it look?
Yeah, what's interesting about the weather with this race, obviously, is when you start and then where you are.
Yep.
Right? The weather here could be very different than the weather in Boston.
Sure.
The weather this moment is different than in 3 hours from now, so it all changes. But I think ideal conditions for the average person is somewhere in the 48 to 55 kind of degrees in order to maximize their performance. Certainly right now it's chilly, and people are going to lose energy if they're not dressed warm enough to maintain the heat. But I think by the time people start, this is going to be perfect. The best part about right now is I don't sense it here. Maybe in Boston it's different, but no wind. And that's critical. A lot of people underestimate what the wind can do, whether it's a headwind, even if it's a tailwind sometimes, if it's a cold one, that can be painful too.
How the hell do you run it, by the way?
What do you mean?
It's the 53rd time.
Oh.
Like, it's just crazy. And this is a triple bypass recipient,
Dave,
too, right?
Dan would like to know how you run. Is is
one foot in front of the other?
Is it on the balls of your feet? Are you a heel runner? He wants to know.
No, I mean, I started back in 1972, and I didn't finish my first one. And then I came back in 73, and I finished it, and I said, I'm going to run this race every year for the rest of my life. And, and I've done that. But in 1988, I got the offered the job to direct it, and I was like, what do I do? Do I run in it, or do I run it? What do I do? And I was standing at the finish line of the marathon that year, not having run it, and high-fiving all the runners. And then I just said, something's wrong. I tapped a police officer on the shoulder, and I said, were you driving back to the start? He goes, why? Did you forget something? I said, yeah, I forgot to run. So he drove me back here to Hopkinton, 8 o'clock at night. I took off, and I finished it a little bit after 11 o'clock at night, dead last. And so I ran it that way for 36 years in a row, run it after everyone, and been the last finisher of the Boston Marathon for 36 years. And then last year, my 20-year-old daughter, Ellie, wanted to run it for the first time, and I said, I'm not missing this opportunity of running with my daughter. So I decided to do what I do here, and then I jumped in the back of Wave 2 and ran with her the whole way. And I've run 170 marathons,
it's
and it's like, well, it's what I do, right? And then it's not easy. I'm not saying this is a piece of cake for me. It's just as hard for me as it is everyone else. It's just I've done a lot of them. And this year, my 19-year-old son, Luke, is going to run. He's a freshman at Boston College, and so he decided
Max
to
ran
run.
it too, your son, right?
And my son Max ran it. So it's all in the family now, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome. What happened the first year when you didn't finish?
Well, what happened was I was 17 years old, senior in high school, and I just woke up the morning of Patriots Day and said I was going to run this thing.
I've heard stories like this. So back in the day, and people used to do this. And I've talked to people who actually did it, said, I'm going to go run the marathon with all these people today. That looks like fun, which seems crazy to me.
It was. It was foolish of me, but I was young and I didn't know the difference. And so I called up my grandfather, who was a supporter of my athleticism. I said, Grandpa, I'm going to go run that race in Boston. He goes, oh, they call it the Boston Marathon. I said, oh, well, that's a good name for it. Well, I'm going to go run it. So he said, I'll meet you at Coolidge Corner. I said, great, where's that? He said, 24 miles. He lived right near there in Brighton. So I come out here and I ran, and I'm running, and I get to the hills of Newton, and bam, down I go. I got taken to the Newton Wellesley Hospital in an ambulance. I called my parents. They picked me up, drove me home. I called my grandfather. No answer. I called him again. No answer. 9 o'clock at night, he answers the phone. I said, Grandpa, where have you been? He goes, Dave, where have you been? I've been waiting for you all night.
Oh, man.
Oh,
waiting
Kelly,
at Coolidge.
Waiting for me. Old man Kelly goes by. Street sweepers go by. No Dave. I said, I quit. He said, what? I said, I failed. He said, you didn't fail. I said, what'd I do? He said, you learned. I said, what I learned? He said, you learned you cannot go along in life and set reckless goals. You had no business being in that race. I said, you're right. He was, I'll cut another deal with you. I said, what? He said, you train for it next year. I'll be here waiting for you.
That's awesome.
I said, deal. Two months later, he died. And I was like, oh, man. So I trained, officially registered, 18 years old, trained, and the day before the race, I got sick. And my parents said, you can't run. I said, I have to run. The newspapers are saying, Dave running in memory of grandfather. And I said, okay, fine, you can run. So I started, and I ran. I got to the point where I dropped out the year before. I'm doing the survivor shuffle over the hills. I get over the hills, right past BC, 21.5, bam, down I go again. Drop out of my second Boston Marathon. All of a sudden, a defining moment happened. I'm sitting on the curb, my head in my hands, and I'm just saying, what a loser, I can't get this thing done. And a defining moment, I turned around, and I'm sitting in front of the Evergreen Cemetery on the Boston Marathon course. And that's where they buried my grandfather. And there was his tombstone right there. I'm looking at his tombstone. And he said he'd be there waiting for me.
Wow.
And he was there, maybe not physically, but spiritually. So I picked myself up, and I finished in 4.5 hours, my first marathon, my first Boston Marathon. And that's when I said to myself, I'm going to run this race every year for the rest of my life and honor and tribute the lesson my grandfather taught me about earning the right. And I've done it for the last 52 years.
And you're here again.
That's awesome.
Dave McGilvery, I can't say anything else other than thank you. It's great to see you here.
How do people get the supporters medals, Dave?
Well, we're going to put it up online in the next couple of weeks and stuff. So just Google my name and you'll find my website and you'll be able to get on.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, easy to find. Dave McGillivray, once again at the Boston Marathon. I said at the start, I'll say it again, synonymous with this race. Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
I know you know Dan beforehand, but have a great day, and it
Thank
looks
you.
like we're going to have a great day for
Yeah,
you.
I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thanks,
All right.
guys.
We'll
All
be
right.
back with more here from the starting line in Hopkinton on Toucher and Hardy here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Be alert. They're going to be tough. I don't really care, though. Okay, ready? First question. Are you ready, Dan? Take it away, Dan. Thank you.
I see. Foolish me. I thought you were going to do something with "Ain't Nobody Gonna Break My Stride" and have that lyrically fit into the game intro, but you went a different direction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank the great Bob Doyle at KSE Productions down in Foxborough.
Well, Dan always comes prepared with a game when he is co-hosting here on Toucher and Hardy. So today is no different, even though we're live at the starting line here in Hopkinton. Dan Roche has a marathon-themed game.
Yes, just some quiz, fun. Ryan, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. We'll get right to it then.
All right, now, am I playing? Is Ryan Johnston playing?
You're both playing together. You can go together on this one.
Okay, so Ryan, you and I will come up with what we think is the correct answer.
All right, here we go. First question right out of the chute. Name the 8 communities that you run through on the 26.2-mile course of the Boston Marathon.
Okay. Well, Hopkinton is 1. Brian, help me out here. We're heading east toward Boston.
Oh, you want to try and do it in order?
Let's do it together.
Let's do it geographically. We'll start in Hopkinton and then what?
I don't know I really don't know the geography. I was going to say Boston is one of them.
I didn't really mean to call you idiots or stupid, but now I do.
Holy crap. Okay, well, we know Hopkinton. We know Wellesley. I bet they run through Natick at some point.
There's 3.
Okay. And now, do we break down different areas of Boston?
No, not really.
Okay, so just Boston is 1, so
Yep,
that's
that's 4.
Newton is 5.
5.
Do they run through Weston at all?
No.
Okay.
Brookline on the list?
There you go.
Brookline is
That's 6.
Very good. See, Ryan, you can do this.
I think 1's going to be really hard.
All right, we got 6. That's all we're going to get.
Framingham.
I was going to guess that, damn it.
And
okay.
right after Hopkinton is Ashland.
Oh, okay.
That's
we should have got Framingham. We should have got 7 out of 8 on that.
All right, not
That's
bad.
Bad job by us.
All right, next one, fellas. An estimated blank amount of spectators will run the race course. Will line the race course today as fans. Is it 300,000, 500,000, 700,000, or 1 million?
This is just a game theory here. It's not going to be the lowest or the highest. I'm going to say 500,000.
See, I was going to go with Dan Roche is the ultimate optimist, so it would be the highest of the numbers. So I was going to say 1 million.
Well, do you want to split the difference and say 700,000?
Sure.
700,000.
Oh, you were right, Hardy.
500,000.
500,000 spectators.
Game theory, Ryan.
Will line. It might be more or less, but, in hundreds of thousands kind of estimate. It's kind of tough.
Yeah.
The next one I'm not going to do because it's, I don't know why I put this in, but the average step count to finish the Boston Marathon it's different for male and female.
So which one are we answering?
I'm not going to answer because it's 55,000 for the men and 62,000, almost 63,000 for the women. Steps. Isn't that weird?
So there's no question?
No. I just thought because
You just want to throw that in?
Yeah.
For Zdeno Chara, it's only 4,000.
Oh, that's right. Is he running it again this year?
I believe he
right?
is, yes.
Yeah, we have some celebrities that are running it too. Drew Carter's running it, the Celtics voice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for the Shamrock Foundation.
All
I was talking to him yesterday about it. He's all excited.
That's good.
I was running it Alice Cook.
I think you said celebrities.
A long-time WBZ TV sports reporter who has ALS. She is running it. There was a great story by Kevin Paul DuPont of the Boston Globe. I want to wish Alice and her family the best of days. I worked with her for years and years at BZ. She's such a cookie. I used to call her Cookie. So
celebrities: Drew Carter, Tim McCone. A-listers.
Chara. All right. Ever wonder why you were asking this, Hardy? Ever wonder why the Boston Marathon is held on the 3rd Monday in April? It's Patriots Day, state-observed holiday which commemorates early battles fought in the area and everything else.
Sure.
This is the latest it could be held, by the way, because it's the 21st. You were asking. It's not normally this late. That's why it was a little lighter this morning when we started.
Okay.
But what other state celebrates this holiday too? There's only 2 states that celebrate Patriots Day.
Okay, and it's called Patriots Day in that
Yes.
state also. I'm going to guess Pennsylvania. But Ryan, you have some Philadelphia connections. Is that right?
I'm going to say, I was going to say Maine.
You want to?
Ryan's right.
As it used to be part of Massachusetts, so it made sense.
Did it really?
Yes.
Okay.
He's just thrown in there. Again, much like your step count, not part of the game, just a fact that's getting thrown in.
Next one,
You
right?
couldn't have figured out a way to make that a question, the step count?
Fellas, how many U.S. states?
I can do it right now. What is it? The average step count between men and women is different. The average difference is it 5,000, 7,000, or 20,000? You know, you
what?
do it that way.
Next time you put in all the work and you do the quiz.
That's
okay?
true. That's true.
You ready, Ryan? Just you. Okay.
Just me. Okay.
No, you can both do it. How many U.S. states are represented in the Boston Marathon? And for a bonus ad, how many countries around the world?
Okay. Well, this changes year to year, I would think.
Don't whine about it. Just tell me the answer.
For this year, how many states are represented?
Yes, for this year. I have the factoids from the marathon people.
For this year?
Yes.
Okay. How many states? Brian, it feels like
50?
it should be 50. And how many countries? I'll say 60 countries around the world.
Ryan?
I will go with 50 and 47.
All 50 U.S. states and 129 countries.
That's unbelievable.
Name them, Dan. Go ahead.
By the way, 4,598 Massachusetts residents are entered, and 9,500 plus volunteers, including 1,600 medical volunteers also.
Did you know that John Wallach is going to Luxembourg?
Yes. Why?
Okay. Now, Ryan.
Yes.
I haven't had a chance to ask you this.
I think they're represented. By the way.
What?
Like Luxembourg is one of the favorites.
All right, Ryan, do you know what Luxembourg is?
Do I know what it is?
Yeah.
I don't understand the question.
Oh, where it is.
It's a European country. I know that.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Both
Thank you. All right.
Both Fred and I thought it was a city.
Really?
Up until Wallach told us it was a country.
Okay. Nice. All right, last question. You ready for? Do we have time?
Tyler, did you know Luxembourg was a country?
Not until right this moment.
Okay, good. All right.
So I'm with you on that one.
All right, good. Thank you. Tyler producing here for us today. All right, go ahead.
Last question?
Yeah.
All right. What's the men's and women's record for consecutive Boston marathons completed? Is it on the men's side 15, 25, 35, 45, or 55?
We just talked to a guy who's done it like 50 times, right?
Yeah, and but he's not the record holder. I think it is 55. I think it was John somebody. So I'm going to go. All right.
Mark Bauman of Michigan.
Told you.
Will be looking.
His middle name
today.
is John.
John Mark.
Will be looking to complete his 56th marathon today.
What part of Michigan? I might know him.
Detroit, maybe.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
On the women's side,
Lansing.
Is it 18, 28, 38, 48, or 58?
So as not to be called sexist in any way, I'll say 58 because women are better than men.
Ryan,
I like the logic in that.
It's a safe answer.
38 by Patty Hung, who will looking to complete her 39th today.
That's great.
So there you have it. And Johnny Kelly completed the Boston Marathon, competed in it over 50 times.
That's what the guy I was thinking of.
Winning in 1935 and 1945. And again, the reason why there's a statue at Heartbreak Hill. Heartbreak Hill was named after Johnny Kelly.
So I think Johnny Kelly has started the race more than anyone else, but maybe not has completed. I think he started several more that he did not finish.
And the reason why Heartbreak Hill in 1936, the Boston Marathon, Tarzan Brown, a Narragansett Indian, defeated Johnny Kelly on the hill. After passing Brown, Kelly gave him a pat on the back, but Brown took it as an adrenaline, even though Kelly was trying to, said, nice job, good race, and they're going to take off.
Yeah.
He surged back ahead of him and beat him. So there was heartbreak for Johnny Kelly at Heartbreak Hill. There, the name of it, the statue of Johnny Kelly.
How about that?
Yes.
Yeah,
I interviewed many times. He was a nice man he was.
I don't think I'd want to be touched in the middle of a race like that, even if it were a go-get-him tiger thing. Don't touch me.
Okay.
Especially at Heartbreak Hill, which you've run it. You ran it that one time, Dan.
I ran it with my wife, and it's mile 16. You start to go up and by the fire station.
Yeah.
And I got to the top of the hill, and I'm like, that wasn't too bad. My wife goes, that's the first of 4 hills.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh.
All right. Anymore?
So, that was fun. No, it was good.
That's it? Great
Yeah.
job. Great job. Okay. We have more guests joining us here, so we are going to step aside. We'll get the headlines here from Ryan Johnston, then we'll continue our broadcast here from the starting line in Hopkinton for the Boston Marathon. Hardy and Dan Roche, Ryan Johnston in studio here on Toucher and Hardy.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Celtics take game one of their playoff series over the Orlando Magic, 103-86 yesterday. Game two of that series comes up on Wednesday night. Other game one victories yesterday. Cleveland a winner over Miami by 21. Oklahoma City blew out Memphis by 51. And Golden State a 10-point win over Houston last night. NBA has announced its finalists for the season-long awards. Only Celtic on the list. Peyton Pritchard, nominee for Sixth Man of the Year. Red Sox 4-game winning streak ended at the hands of the White Sox yesterday, 8-4 at Fenway. The two teams will play again today, 11:10 a.m. start. Walker Buehler gets the start for the Red Sox. Stanley Cup playoffs yesterday. Carolina beat New Jersey 4-1. Toronto 6-2 win over Ottawa. Vegas a 4-2 victory over Minnesota. And the 129th running of the Boston Marathon gets underway about an hour and a half before the men's and women's wheelchair division starts. The men's pros at 9:37. Women's pros go off at 9:47. Everybody else starts at 10 a.m. on Wave 1. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Cross Insurance, known for building winning partnerships with teams of all sizes. The official insurance broker of the Red Sox, Bruins, and Patriots. Visit crossagency.com. Cross Insurance, your team, your choice. I'm Ryan Johnston on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. More headlines at 8 o'clock.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the
are fun.
Toucher and Hardy continues on the Sports Hub.
Live from Hopkinton, it's the Toucher and Hardy program where Dan Roche and I are broadcasting this morning. We already spoke with Dave McGilvray, who has been a part of the marathon now for decades, and now Matt Brown of the Matt Brown Foundation. Matt and Luke is here with us. Gentlemen, thank you for being here.
Hardy, thank you for having us.
You and I last spoke at the Journey Forward. Is it a casino night? Because I don't get to do any gambling at that thing. I just show up and do the auction.
It's fake casino. That's where I go to practice counting cards, then take it down Twin River.
There you go. Now, when you say counting cards, are you just keeping a high-low count? Are you following aces through the deck? What are we doing?
See, I get about 3 cards in and I lose count, and then I just lose all my money.
Oh, yeah. That's the problem with the card counting. You got to be consistent, and you have to count.
You have to pay very close attention.
Yeah, it's. I think for the most part, people think, you can't count cards in a casino. Casinos love card counters.
They must,
because
they can't do it.
Nobody does. No, right. You know, a handful of MIT.
When I see too many tens, I'm just like, that's a heavy deck. And I refer to Kevin Spacey in 21. So why not?
And you know what? Good luck to the pit boss who tried to take me out back. I don't move very well, so throw on the brakes and say good luck.
Explain to everybody here what's going on and how you're part of the marathon today.
Yeah, so this is our 11th Boston Marathon, 14 marathon overall. And it's actually the first year that the foundation got into the official charity program. And a huge thanks to the BAA and Bank of America. Lucas and I will be joined by 5 runners for the official charity program and another 3 that we got bids through the city of Boston. This day doesn't get old, and no matter how many times you run it. We got a great weather today, and this year alone, the foundation was able to bring in $130,000 to the foundation due to our runners at their dedication and sacrifice, and over the last couple of months. And I think everyone's super excited.
What does getting in do for you?
Oh, it's everything. We applied, and for years we were denied, and you're breaking that barrier to get into the official charity program is huge. And 5 runners that we had 35 applicants apply, combed through a bunch of applications, and picked 5 runners who I think have gone above and beyond their goal, and they're super excited, and they're taking the bus out in a few hours. And, with the weather the way it is, it's going to be a real special day.
I think it's chilly here. Lucas is being a bit of a hardo, I think, with the tank top and the muscles.
No sleeves. I'm the one who's got to get used to this, guys.
Okay.
You got the comforted jackets. I think you got a problem with your zipper again,
I can't.
What's up with
Something
that,
happened to it. It broke. I got to fix it at some point.
But I don't have this comfort. But I'm going to be able to warm up.
You're going to warm up, but it's not warm now. So why do you insist on standing there?
Because he's got a tattoo, and he's like ready to.
I don't know.
He's got a camera on him.
I'm a tall drink of water. I got to stretch all this out, a little bit. So it's all right. But it's not. I got to get used to the weather. I don't want to jump right into run pretty cold, and I'm adjusting on the course. So this is good feeling right now.
You do however you want to do. Dave McGilvray, who has run how many marathons now?
This will be his 53rd.
Was just
Boston
talking about
today.
the importance of staying warm at this stage of the morning, and maybe covering up a little bit before you start the actual
Yeah, but
race.
everybody's cold plunging now and doing those sauna things, so I think I'm right in the wheelhouse with all that, right?
If Fred Toucher were here, he would tell you all about his ability to cold plunge and how he thinks that's an actual skill in life.
It is. It's all about mentality and breathing, man. This is what gets us through the day.
Cold plunging?
Yeah, just like a nice fresh shower in the morning.
Okay, so we have this discussion too.
We like to shave. Lucas and I like to shave.
Yeah.
Hardy shower. You did nothing today, and you look it.
Okay.
He looks great.
Yeah.
He does, really. I'm sorry.
Shower the night before. And take your time. You can shower at 7, 8 p.m., whatever. Put on some clean clothes. Get into a clean bed. Wake up, put on clean clothes. Go to work. You guys insist on showering morning up.
Getting our day started. Right? With a nice clean shave, a nice shower, get a cup of coffee going in the morning, get that feel, get that vibe going, and then go tackle the day. Not Mr. Mountain Dew and coffee.
It's Diet Mountain Dew, by the way. And yes,
still the same thing.
It is coffee. It's good for you.
Yeah.
I want Lucas to explain what his day is like. What's your journey like?
All right, because I was going to ask a question, but no, Dan wants to hear about your journey. Whatever that.
So it's really our journey, and it started on a pretty cold day in February of 2012, and it was a chair that we decided to put together over the course of a month, qualify for the Boston Marathon on one of our coldest runs of our entire career racing, and 2012. We ran our first Boston Marathon here 13 years ago when it was 90 degrees. Ooh. And, yeah, you would be pretty comfortable in this weather. But
I like it hot.
I think the journey's just really been about perseverance, not too much about phenomenal skill, but a phenomenal will to get the message through to everybody. And Matt's message is pretty clear, and our message is pretty clear. And everybody fundraising on a day like this, it's touching people, thousands of people, and it's changing the lives of thousands. And with over $130,000 that the Matt Brown Foundation has raised, and the hard work he's put in, my groundwork is easy because I just got to show up, run, and push. Matt does the groundwork here, and that's it.
Matt, what is the message? I mean, in a succinct way, I guess.
Yeah, our motto on the website and our shirts is never quit, overcome, forever forward. When you're dealt, a bad break, it's the biggest thing I say is that when one door closes, that doesn't mean that they all close. Sometimes it's tough to get out of bed in the morning. When things might not go your way, but when you dig deep and really try to overcome, many more opportunities open up.
And in terms of the money that's raised, I know about some of the foundation's work and some of the things that Journey Forward is doing.
Does it go to your card counting and all those things?
Does it just go right into the casino account? Because if you keep money with them, they tend to give you more perks.
No, we
I can work in roulette too.
We've this year especially, we just put an adaptive swing into the little preschool over in Norwood for an individual student there who basically just had to sit on the side and watch his classmates play. And now this adaptive swing will allow him to get onto the playground, and it'll be there, for years to come for any other students that pass through the school who might be mobility impaired.
What's that mean to you?
It's everything, and we got to go up to see the swing the other day, and the DPW that put it in, a bunch of blue collar guys were up there looking over the project after they put it in, and they were met by a faint little thank you and a wave, and they turned around, and it was the boy coming out to see the swing for the first time.
Oh, wow.
Which, hearing that from those blue-collar guys and seeing them get choked up, really just brought it full circle. And it was another just a realization that, what we're doing is slowly making a difference for many individuals to come.
I do the same thing when I get to watch some guys doing some construction work. I will very sheepishly stand in the background and I'll say thank you. But I just mean thank you for letting me watch.
Yeah.
Because I get off on that. I do. Any type of hard labor going on that I couldn't do myself, but I like to watch.
Matt Hardy has issues.
You can come to work for me any day.
What do you do when you're not doing marathons?
So I own a tree company out of Walpole, Mass.
Oh no!
Oh yeah.
Just moved a little bit.
Yeah,
I just warmed up a lot.
You're good. Yeah, you can take your jacket off now. It's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, anytime you're welcome to. Do whatever you want to do. You can say thank you at the end of the day, but
now, do you do any climbing still, or you like my guy Rocco over there in Canton, who stands on the ground and watches his guys climb? Do you know Rocco?
I can still, I can. I can still do it. I can still do it. I can still hang, but there's too much at stake now, especially when a day like this is present.
Right.
But it's a fun time. Where your backyard is our gym, so we make it work.
Wow. Okay. This turned into a great day after all. We get to talk about a little tree work. We get to talk about some foundation work. Now I'm happy to be here.
You want to talk Patriots draft strategy? You want to talk Red Sox? Are they okay this year? We can talk things like that while they talk trees. Okay.
No. Actually, our time is up. If you're going to start talking sports, then we're just going to end this.
Hardy, do you know how him and I actually met?
No.
Taking a tree down in his backyard in Norwood.
Get out of here.
I swear.
I was in
That's
the
how that
second
all
grade.
happened, yeah.
2002.
2001, and I needed money to buy hockey skates and baseball gear, and that's how it all happened.
Wow.
Yeah, so I 2001, 2002-ish, because I had to come back and do some more work. But that's how we ended up happening. I'm sorry, I should have just stuck with that one.
What do you like? Steel, Husqvarna? What's your?
They're both the same. To me, they're both. They're you got to pay for them. So.
Really? Branches, roots, stumps. I mean,
still the same thing, but it's all relevant. But crazy enough, that's how we ended up actually meeting back in the day, and here we are, 24 years later.
how long will it take you today?
I'm hoping to do under 4 hours.
That's amazing.
So. Hopefully do under 4 hours. You know, the adrenaline will set in a little bit and you know, you just kind of really take it from there.
What are the hills like? I mean, it's like, do you have like?
They're harder than the flat.
No, do you
and
have like an
downhill
electric
parts.
motor in there that you can kickstart and everything else too? I would. I'd say hop on.
Say it, Matt.
As soon as we hit we turn right at the firehouse, that's when I start to say, mush. Mush, 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 mush.
That's awesome.
Yeah, mush. That's it. You know?
The best part is, as soon as you get to Boston, the crowd. I think today with how nice it is, the crowd will take us in.
Yeah.
Like if you can get to 20 or 21, you know, you'll have no problem getting to the
And
the finish
that
line.
right on Hereford, left on Boylston must be. Isn't that the greatest?
It's
crazy.
the best.
It's the craziest feeling you'll ever see. It's the craziest feeling you'll ever hear. Like, just looking down that entire tunnel, you're seeing all these people, and they're cheering for complete strangers all day. And, you know, it gives them motivation to get out there the next year, and it helps us get to the finish line even faster. And, you know, it's emotional as well for those people who have a lot at stake for it, but it's an unbelievable feeling. I recommend it to the both of you guys if you ever
did
want
it once.
Okay.
And all I remember is that right on Hereford, left on Boylston, and it felt like it took 3 days to get from when you step onto Boylston to the finish line, because you're just looking and it's like, hurry.
Yeah,
And it's awesome.
All the people at the bars are pretty lubed up, and they're all getting going, and you know, they're 8 rows deep, just cheering you on. And there's really something very special about this that you can never find in any other city.
And you know, it's funny, as soon as we get to Wellesley College, I have to keep telling him to stay to the left, because some of those signs he keeps scoping out, trying to find
Trying to kiss him.
trying to find a young co-ed. I'm like,
Jesus.
nope, we got to get to the finish line.
And that's why you shower beforehand.
That's 100. Yes.
There you go.
That's
See, comes back
100%.
full circle.
It's 100%.
I bring it all back around.
Yeah, you came full circle on that one, Hardy.
That's
It was a
awesome.
good one. That was a good one.
Matt, let me guess. MattBrownFoundation.org.
Yep, MattBrownFoundation.org.
Got it. All right, Matt and Lucas, great to see you. Thanks so much for stopping
guys.
by.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Good
you.
luck today.
Thanks,
we'll talk
Hardy.
trees on our own time.
100%.
But
Awesome.
I would love
awesome
to do
what you
it.
do.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks,
All right,
Roche.
guys,
Appreciate
thank
it,
you.
guys.
We'll continue our broadcast here from the starting line in Hopkinton. Dan Roche and Hardy here. Ryan Johnston, get us updated. Back
Where
in
are we?
studio.
What edition?
The 129th Boston Marathon here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Toucher and Hardy, 98.5 The Sports Hub. These guys would rather get you ready for Marathon Monday than run the race themselves. Live from Hopkinton, it's Hardy and Dan Roche on 98.5 The Sports Hub, presented by Planet Fitness.
We are live in Hopkinton for the 129th running of the Boston Marathon. Hardy and Dan Roche here on Toucher and Hardy. Ryan Johnston in studio. I don't know how this happened, but it's gotten colder.
Yeah, weird.
The temperature. Okay, it's not just me, right?
Yeah.
Freezing.
Compared to when we first got here.
The temperature has gone up 6 degrees. It was 37 when we got here. It is now 43. I don't know if it's the wind. I don't know if it's just, my frailness. But even Dan is complaining now.
Nobody else seems affected by it, though. It's just like you and I. Everyone else is happy and normal. I'm cold. All of a sudden, my feet are cold.
Right.
Everything.
Right. Is it because we stood up? Did we screw up?
Maybe older or something.
Should we not? I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Welcome back, though. We're at the starting line of the 129th edition of the Boston Marathon here in Hopkinton.
I said all that.
Gun will go off in just less than an hour from now with the wheelchair men, then wheelchair women. Then the waves begin, and your elite runners come home. And, for 8 years, I called the finishes. And what was really cool, Hardy?
And they decided to move on from you.
We just switched rights, fees, and everything else.
Who does it now?
Another station.
Do you know who the guy? Do you know who the voice is? Do you know who has the?
Oh, the PA.
Yeah.
So what's really cool is for someone at that other stage did it for 2 years, but now Tom Grilk, who's been the executive director of the BAA, he is just nice a man as you're ever going to come across. He did it up through 2013, and that's when I took over and did it for 8 years, and he's now taking it back this year.
Oh.
He knows everything about the marathon, like he's like a walking encyclopedia. His son, so it used to be a team. We'd be just like in an area like this, finish line coming at us, computer screen. So what was really cool is if you ran the marathon and you would say, where are you from? What's your hometown?
You want me to tell you?
Yeah.
Originally or now?
What were you born and raised? Where would you register when you were running the marathon? What name what town would you put on your application?
Canton.
Would you?
Canton, Massachusetts.
So if about 900 yards from the finish line is you had a chip in your bib.
Yeah.
And you'd cross that on the pad, and your name would come up on the computer.
Okay.
So I could say, as you come by, I said, here comes Rob Hardy from Canton, Massachusetts on the PA system. Congratulations, you've just completed the 129th edition of the Boston Marathon.
But you can't do that for everybody because there's people crossing
So you just randomly do it. Greg Meyer, who won the 1983 marathon, him and I would be your host for the day. We'd welcome the elite runners in. We'd do the ceremonies with the governor and everything else, and the official wreath which comes from Greece. It was shipped over. We would do all that. But then we'd just start to get the average runners coming in, and it was just... And if you saw somebody struggling, which would be you, and you were like on your knees trying to finish, you could power the microphone. Everyone down at the finish line, you could say, let's help Rob Hardy get across the finish line. You can do this. You can do this. And it was so rewarding.
So you're taking some credit for these other people who have already run over 26 miles, and you say the power of the microphone is what really gets them across the finish line.
No, it just gets the whole crowd going, and then it helps them.
I heard what I heard.
You need that adrenaline.
You said the power of the microphone.
But so those kind of stories, that's the emotion that I like of the marathon.
You know what?
That's what's pretty cool.
Normally, I wouldn't like you touching me like that, but I did warm up for a second with your big ham hock on me. Should we just
like Johnny Kelly and Tarzan Brown, right? Heartbreak Hill.
Should we just huddle together until we? I don't know what happened, and I thought the sun was going to hit us at some point, but it's not. It's staying behind the building over there. Oh, all right.
But it was cool, and I got my one day of movie acting from it.
Which was for what?
I was on Fred one morning, and they said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm going to do the marathon this year." The PA voice again. Somebody from the talent, because I explained just like I explained to you how I did it, and how I welcomed people in and all that kind of stuff. And some agency heard it and said, got in touch with me. He said, "Can you come audition? We're doing a movie, Patriots Day, right, with Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Can you come do that same thing if we call you in?" And I said, "Sure." So I went. They did it in Weymouth. They built a base. They built a finish line. I go into this little trailer. I get there 5:30 in the morning. "Hey, come with us, Mr. Roche. Would you like a sandwich, breakfast sandwich?"
Sure.
Makeup, put it all in. Then you go to this trailer. There's not a TV and nothing. It's just like a prison. And I sat there, right? So all of a sudden it's 5:30. They'll call you soon. 1:30. I sat there by myself. Didn't know what to do. Finally, I got out. I walked around a little bit, and the guy goes, "Hey, did they get you?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "Oh, let's go have lunch." Da 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 da. So finally, at 3:30, they said, "Come with us, Mr. Roche. Bring us down." There's a setup similar to what we used for the finish, and they said, "Do what you do." All right, here comes Rob Hardy from Canton, Massachusetts. Here comes Bill Smith. Da 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 da. Congratulations, you just completed the 124th edition of the Boston Marathon. Do all that stuff, and they're shooting it. They're shooting it head on, right in my face. They're shooting it from the sides. They're shooting it from low. John Goodman comes out and does his part with the commissioner. Everything else. So thank you very much. I do it for a day. I get paid for doing it. And my wife and I and 2 kids go to see the premiere.
Yeah.
And all you see is me with my hand on my chest way in the background during the national anthem. And then you can slightly hear my voice underneath. They didn't use any footage or anything that they shot. That was it.
So TV is a lot of hurry up and wait.
Oh yeah.
But I've only been on a couple of sets like that, and one of them was the David Ortiz Skechers commercial.
Really?
That I auditioned for. And you want to talk about hurry up and wait. 6 a.m. call time, and we shot it at the McGolf driving range.
Really?
In Dedham. Right? And the gist of the commercial was David Ortiz shows up at a driving range, but instead of golf clubs, he's got his bat in a golf bag, and he's just throwing golf balls up in the air and hitting the golf balls. So the part that I auditioned for, that we're all auditioning for, was the guy in the bay next to David Ortiz.
Hitting?
And you're getting ready to hit a shot, and you're just supposed to look up and have this look on your face like, what is this guy doing, right? I was doing too much. I was doing more stage acting. I was doing too much, or I was too ugly, or whatever. They went with somebody else who had a really subtle look when he looked up, and I saw the commercial afterward. I'm like, oh, that's what they were going for. That guy's good. That guy's good. The look he gave was good. But as it turns out, the way they were shooting it, they decided morning of, last minute, that the guy swinging in the bay next to David Ortiz, and were like, oh, we need you to swing left-handed because of the way we have this shot set up. We want you to look at him as a left-handed golfer.
Wow.
And so this poor guy, who was a decent player, you could tell from the way he was swinging right-handed, had to swing left-handed on camera. And
did it look awkward?
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
So everyone else who got cast as, like an extra that day, we're all standing around laughing. It's like, good thing we didn't get that, because now you're going to look like a jackass. But like you said, food.
I know.
You just
like
sit
royalty.
around, and you sit around all day and you just eat and
did you get paid?
Whatever. Got paid.
Yeah.
But it was. I think I got there at 6 a.m. I didn't leave until 4 for a 30-second commercial.
Yeah.
It was 10 hours of just waiting around, and I didn't even really have to do anything. and talk about.
But you can see why the budget's so big when they say these movies and everything else. It's because everybody else does that too.
Yeah, and they're doing it for commercials and everything else. And you say you can barely see. You're standing with your hand on your heart and you can hear your voice underneath. I have looked. I have dissected this thing like under a microscope. And I know where I am in a couple of the shots in this commercial, and I can't see myself. I'm like way down at the end of the range. And they were going through all this stuff. It's like, oh, you got a logo on your shirt. We have to like get that off with, something, or cover it with tape or something. I'm like, you can't even see me. I'm down at I'm out of focus at the end. I'm not even sure I'm there. But
that's crazy.
I didn't know you were in that movie. I haven't seen it. And I watch all the movies, but that's one I haven't seen yet.
Yeah,
I'll get around to it. We do have the draft coming up later this week, so we are going to be covering that more and more in the coming days. But and Ryan, I know that you've said that you have not been paying attention to any sports other than hockey, having to do with that pesky play-by-play gig that you've been doing for the Bruins this year, but. Anything that you heard over the last couple of days change your mind, specifically you or Dan, about what the Patriots are going to end up doing at number 4? I'm just wondering if anyone's mind has been changed, because there's been some chatter over the last couple of days. Are you thinking anything differently, Dan, in terms of what the Patriots will ultimately do at 4?
So here's what bothers me about this whole draft, and Ryan, I don't know how you feel about it too. It's just, and I get it. I know sports radio and what you guys do.
What do we do?
But it's just like, come on. We've been talking about this since the day the season ended.
Yeah.
And it's just
that's what we do.
Oh, they got to take it. Well, Campbell, his arms are too short. It's just on and on and on. Like, can we just have the draft? What I'm excited about.
Oh, so you don't want to talk about it before we do it. You just want to have the draft and then welcome them with open arms.
I'm sorry, but did you not ask my opinion about the draft and everything else too?
I asked you.
So I'm giving you my opinion. Okay, I think they're going to take Will Campbell. Fine. That's what you want to hear, fine. But I'm more excited about, do they trade up in the first round and grab, someone else, a wide receiver, a defensive line, something they're looking for. That's what I want to, and I don't want to see
trade out of their second round spot.
Yeah, I want to see the impact of Mike Vrabel on this draft. I want to see, when all is said and done, are we going to sit there and say, these are Mike Vrabel types of players? Are we going to say that 2 years from now, that they have the traits that Mike wants? They have the abilities that Mike wants to fit his defensive scheme. We're going to have a new defensive scheme for the first time in 25 years because of the Belichick influence.
Right.
And I want to see how it all comes together. Will they draft a running back? How's that going to look? Who are they going to take on what round and everything else? I know we go to Alex Barth, for all the guys that possibly could be drafted. I love listening to him. But at the same time, I just want this thing over. I just want to, let's go so we can just move on to the next phase.
Unbelievable.
And I'm going to be there in Green Bay for WBZ.
Okay.
Brian?
Will that be your mantra? Let's just get this over with. Back to you, Steve.
No. Ryan, what do you think?
I'm most looking forward to seeing if anybody drops anything on the ground, can Campbell bend over far enough to pick it up with his little mini T-Rex arms?
Wow.
Like, that's all I know about this draft, basically, is that this guy's got apparently, alligator arms.
Well, they magically got longer at the pro day. So, from the combine to the pro day, I don't know if he pulled a Bobby Brady and,
stretch machine in your basement.
Yeah, hung on a bar from his closet or something. But they
carrying around 200-pound dumbbells for an entire week, trying to stretch them out as far as he could.
Well, we had that whole argument, Artie, about the quarterback, right? Shedeur Sanders, and that you need a franchise quarterback in order to ever win a Super Bowl. So do you think Shedeur goes 3? Is anybody jump up there or no? So are Carter and Hunter going to be gone before we get to the Patriots pick at 4?
The way it's looking right now is that's how it's going to fall out. And the more I bat it around in my own head, the more okay I become with it. Because
it's a glaring need.
It's a real danger of overthinking.
Yes.
It's like, well, there's other ways that you can help out Drake May by getting him that receiver. But look, if Travis Hunter is there, if Abdul Carter is there, you take him because they're just better at football. They're better at their position, or perceived to be better than Will Campbell is projected to be at his. It's no knock on Will Campbell. He's still the top offensive lineman in the draft, but if you're just looking to get better, and I've said this about the Patriots after, several lackluster seasons now, if you want to get better as a team, at some point you got to start getting better. And it's tough to get the free agents unless you have some other pieces around it, but you got to start. And you could argue that they did by getting Drake May and hitting on Drake May.
And what did they do with Drake May?
Who appears to be the guy. Okay, but now what? Now, it's not just about being patient for a fan. As a team.
Can we get him?
Is
it an offensive tackle?
Yeah, there's
that guy about 6'9".
I think an offensive tackle just walked by. He may be a linebacker. I don't know who it is.
Quick
but
check his arm length.
He got
a measuring tape?
I don't know what sport we're talking, but he can play it. I'm pretty sure he can play.
Like his back is the sign of like a map, on a drawing board.
Is that guy running today?
But
is it safe?
But the Patriots did the thing that pleased me last year was that they saw a quarterback and they took that quarterback, right?
Yes.
So, despite all the speculation.
So
if you got to do that with Campbell, do that with Campbell. The other thing I would do, Hardy, against the grain of the NFL, the mighty NFL, if Travis Hunter fell to them at 4. I would pick him and I'd say, you go play. We're going to incorporate you in both sides of the football and let's see what happens.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's my pet peeve of all. Things sit with me. Sit with me sometimes. Doug Flutie was the most mistreated NFL player I've ever seen, right? Because Jack McNell had a system for him at Boston College. Played into it. You do what you do, Doug. He was too short to do that in the NFL. That's what they said. And they never really designed a system with backups behind him as a quarterback that can run and everything else, too, to let Flutie be Flutie. If he was playing now, Doug Flutie would be a gazillionaire because of the way he played the game. They never let him do it.
I don't know.
The stuffy NFL people.
I don't know how much you can system around shortness when every other line, when you can't see over the offensive line.
Oh, Kyler Murray?
Was he at the level of Kyler? I'll have to check their respective heights.
I think
Flutie's shorter.
5'8", isn't he? 5'9"?
We'll check on that during the break. But by the time we come back, we'll probably have someone else who's running the marathon here
I know,
today.
right?
And that way, if I'm wrong, I won't have to say anything about it. All right, live from Hopkinton here. Now that sun's coming through.
It feels good.
It feels really good. I'm going to go catch a bit of this sun, and then we'll be ready to talk more here from the starting line.
Where are we?
We're in Hopkinton for the 129th Boston Marathon. Dan Roche and I are here. Ryan Johnston is in studio, and it's all happening here on Toucher and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Stay tuned for more Toucher.
Well, you guys are in the staging area right now. I wish you could have been here with us, but I realize it's almost a mile from where we are right now. But that's stuff in the background and everything else. I just wanted to thank you for joining us here, Elizabeth and Ed, and thank you so much for sharing your stories here with us today. And best of luck. I don't know what else to say other than every story is more inspiring than the last one, and you guys have continued in that tradition. So thank you again, and good luck today.
Thank you both. We loved speaking with you, and we appreciate you guys taking the time to share our stories and hopefully inspire others along the way throughout our journeys.
Absolutely. And
go get him, Ed and Elizabeth.
Yeah, and don't do the cartwheel.
You know me, I will.
Yes.
No cartwheel,
Thank you so much,
Elizabeth.
and I wish Elizabeth and everybody else best of luck today.
All right. Great job, Ed. Thank you so much, and thanks for being on with us here this morning.
And our own Dan Alperin, right, I think he just completed the 6 by getting running the Tokyo Marathon, too. So
yeah, it's
insane. I've known Danny forever.
Yeah, and to be able to do them in, like, such a short period of time.
They spread them out and everything else, but like Elizabeth is doing. So Becca Pizzi, who was she did it. She did them all in one calendar year, and she went from marathon to marathon. It was like insane.
Also seems unwise.
I know, right?
Well, Dave McGilvray was here earlier. He literally, this was like 30, 40 years ago. He ran from Oregon to his home here in Boston.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, ran across the country. So again,
did no one tell him about planes?
I know, right?
These people, they're
insane.
They're not built like you and me.
No.
And Dan, you've run it once, but
Yeah.
could you imagine running another? You ran it 30 years ago. You're probably in a little better shape then. Could you imagine running another one 6 days later?
No. 6 years later or 60 years later. No. Absolutely not. I have no chance. And I see people when you watch people go by, and we've been everywhere on the marathon route. People like wearing a giraffe head.
Yes.
How do you do that? People in bare feet. How do you do that? It's just crazy.
Show-offs.
Yes.
They're just showing off. All right. More to come here from the starting line in Hopkinton. We have more guests who are joining us in person who are going to be on the course here very, very shortly. So we got to get to them because things are about to happen here. From the starting line in Hopkinton here on Toucher and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub.
Marathon. It's Toucher and Hardy. Hardy with Dan Roche and Ryan Johnston holding things down back at the studio.
That's not very romantic.
I just heard a wonderful romantic story from Russ Hoyt, who's going to talk to us about Team Hoyt here for a moment. Who we were discussing my tending bar and how I used to work at a Houlihan's. And Russ, where did you propose?
So 1 year after the marathon, we were at Houlihan's, and we had a table, and there's a level above, and everybody's looking down at us because they think we're celebrating Team Hoyt. So I got down on one knee and I actually proposed to my wife at Houlihan's after the Boston
And
Marathon.
she said yes and everything. You still married to you after that proposal?
34 years.
How romantic is Houlihan's? I mean,
Well,
come on.
they say that French onion soup and the Brentwood chicken sandwich were the true aphrodisiac. You know, it's not oysters. It's the blue whale, the cheap sunglasses, all the
That's
novelty drinks.
Yep, and we still use the back scratchers. So
Of course. Russ Hoyt is the president and CEO of Team Hoyt and the Hoyt Foundation. We all know the story of Rick and Dick Hoyt, and the tradition continues here today. Russ, tell us about Team Hoyt and what's going on with this 129th Boston Marathon here today.
Absolutely. So 44 years ago, Dad and Rick were the first duo to ever enter the Boston Marathon. Dad pushed Rick, and now 44 years later, we have a charity team of 25 runners that are participating on behalf of the Hoyt Foundation. They've raised over $252,000 so that we can give back. And we
for this marathon.
For this marathon.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought you said total. I was like, that's pretty impressive.
$250,000 for this year.
This year. And we're able to give back. We have the Dick and Judy Hoyt Yes You Can inclusion grants. So we're able to get wheelchairs for other duos so that they can start running together. We helped a young man with Down syndrome learn to swim. We helped another young man become a competitive horseback rider who has a disability. We've had people learn how to surf and ski, and they do that with disabilities against their non-disabled peers through this grant program.
Okay, so and today Troy is going to be involved this year also, as he has been in years past.
Yeah, so my son Troy, who is Dick's grandson, is running his 5th Boston Marathon this year to keep that family tradition alive and going.
Okay, and to me, the fact that it's been able to grow and you've got so many more people involved now, do you think your dad had any idea that it would evolve into this? You know, how they started, or was that always kind of like maybe his hope that, you know, this would continue and kind of branch out?
Absolutely. So they started running in 1977, and in 1989, that's when they created the Hoyt Foundation, and they said, We've gotten to a point where this is working great for us. How do we give back? So that's when that was created. And then for it to become what it is now, we have chapters all over the country. We have 13 chapters. We have one in Canada. We have them in Texas, California. We just opened Team Hoyt Denver. They're actually going to be doing their first official race in May. So it's all over the country. And then we have runners coming over. We have international runners on our team. We have local runners. We have 2 duos that are running in Dad and Rick's honor. We have Beth and Liza James, Team Liza, and it's the first mother and daughter team that we've been able to come and run under our flag representing the family. So we've got some just amazing stuff happening, and I think when I think about Dad looking down on this and seeing it, I think that's why we got good weather today, because I think he said, you know what, we got to help these people out.
I think I interviewed your dad, hundreds of times over the years just because of the marathon. Is there any one story that you could share with our listeners, your favorite story about Rick and Dick, just about what they did, and maybe meeting somebody from an impact around the world, just something that kind of, what stands out in your mind?
So the 1993 Boston Marathon was Rick's absolute favorite. That was the year he graduated from BU. And along the course, he said he saw hundreds of signs. People were holding up signs. Congratulations, Rick. We love you and BU too. So it was just amazing that not only were they seeing Rick as an athlete and being pushed, but they were like, wow, this kid just graduated from college. Think about all the work that he put in to do that. You know, what running a marathon was, but you think about the work he put in to actually, graduate with his bachelor's degree was so cool. And just the fact that everybody along the course, the entire, way that they were coming along to the finish, everybody to recognize that accomplishment with him was just blew him away.
I love hearing, the dollar amounts, $250,000 this year alone being raised, but also specifically, how does that money get put to use? Because, some of That's just the first part of it. You got the money. How's it actually being implemented? I think that's the really good part.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So as I said, we have the Dick and Judy Hood Inclusion Grant, so that's a small part of it. We work with Children's Hospital, specifically their augmentative communication program. We've created the Rick Hoyt Endowment, where they're now able to create augmentative communication systems so that people can have computers just like Rick did. And when Rick had that computer, that's when he spelled out, "Dad, will you push me in this race?" And then Dad said the famous, "Yes, you can," started that mantra, that motto. And then when Rick came home, he typed on that computer again, "Dad, when I'm running, it feels like my disability disappears." Now we're able to help other people with disabilities get communication devices, be able to have their own voice, and then they can start to tell people what they're
How
passionate
rewarding
about.
is that when you hear the stories and you see them actually go into use?
It's amazing, and to meet the individuals and to see just the smile on their face and how excited that they get that they now have their own voice and they can actually say what they're thinking and what they want the world to know about them.
Russ Hoyt, he's the president and CEO of Team Hoyt. Again, it's you talk about names that are synonymous with the Boston Marathon. I think Hoyt has become one of those now, and people who are actually participating as runners, they're obviously included. You must have other people, whether it's people who are designing and coming up with different chairs and different modes. It's branched out. So how are other people getting involved with Team Hoyt?
So there's a gentleman, Mike DiDonato. He's in Southbridge, Mass. He actually builds the Team Hoyt chairs. They get shipped all over the country. Last year, we had a duo fly in from San Antonio. I got a call on Friday night, and he's like, "Hey, Russ, we had a problem on the flight. Our chair got destroyed." We got him in a car. This was Friday night. Drove him out to Mike, got him a new chair. They ran the 5K on Saturday and then the marathon on Monday last year. So like this type
So
of...
from no chair on Friday night to actually participating the next day in the 5K.
Okay, yep. And then on Monday ran the marathon, and that same duo just completed Berlin, and they are now the first 6-star duo to ever complete that. So they've done the 6 majors across the world.
What's that first chairs look like compared to the chairs that are made now, right?
It used to be like pushing a shopping cart completely with that one back wheel that wobbled, so you can't go straight. And now they are flying. It's amazing.
That's wow. Pretty great.
Any internal competitions going on with Team Hoyt members and all these people around the world during the different marathons in terms of the times they're trying to put in or the goals and accomplishments they're trying to reach within the races?
Absolutely. We were just talking with the duos who are getting ready to run today, and we were saying, what's the fastest duo time that's ever been? I don't believe anyone has ever beaten Dad and Rick's 2:52 here at the Boston Marathon, or their fastest marathon ever, a 2:40.
Where was that?
At the Marine Corps Marathon.
Really?
Yeah. And I don't...
When did your Dad and Rick do the 250?
252.
What year was that?
I believe that was 1992.
It's unbelievable.
It's crazy.
It's just flying.
Yeah.
It's absolutely flying.
You have a website too, right? I love the hat. That's a beautiful hat.
Thank you. Yeah, teamhoyt.com. We've actually got a memorial race coming up in May 24th. It's going to be right here in Hopkinton. It goes past the statue of Dad and Rick, and we would love for people to come and join us for that. Just go to teamhoyt.com.
Yeah,
you can get all the
WBZ's been a part of that in the past and everything else too, right?
Yep, they're our media sponsor. You're going to start seeing some ads on TV.
What TV station is that?
WBZ TV, Channel 4.
Thank you.
Yeah. He likes me to do the plug sometimes because it gets a little redundant when he says it 19 times during the show. Russ, you got a busy morning, so we'll let you go, but thank you so much. It was
awesome.
great to talk to you.
Yeah. Same here.
Good to see you, Russ.
And good luck and continued success with Team Hoyt. It's one of the great stories of the marathon. It truly is.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Well, we'll continue. We've got things happening right now.
I feel like Ryan and Bob Beers get the anthem going on.
We can be quiet.
Right.
We got the anthem. We want to be respectful. We'll be back here on Toucher and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
State, a winner last night over Houston, 95-85. Cleveland, an easy win over Miami. And Oklahoma City blew out Memphis by 51 yesterday. NBA announcing its finalists for its season awards. Only Celtic on the list. Peyton Pritchard nominated for 6th Man of the Year. Red Sox 4-game winning streak came to an end with an 8-4 loss to the White Sox yesterday at Fenway. Bullpen gave up 6 runs in the last 3 innings to blow a 4-2 lead. Same teams play again today. The traditional 11:10 a.m. Patriots Day start. Walker Buehler on the mound for Boston. Stanley Cup playoffs yesterday in Game 1s. Carolina over New Jersey. Toronto beat Ottawa. And Vegas topped Minnesota. And the 129th running of the Boston Marathon about to get underway at this hour. The men's and women's wheelchair starters go off within minutes. The men's pros begin at 9:37. The women's pros at 9:47. And then Wave 1 at 10 a.m. Headlines are brought to you by the 99 Restaurants. Visit the Nines the day after the Red Sox win. Get a free kids meal with every adult entree purchased. You've got to love the Nines. I'm Ryan Johnston on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. More headlines in around 30 minutes.
New England plays here.
Down the right side, it's a separation. Touchdown pass. Perfect dive from Drake May.
98.5 The Sports Hub. Hardy and Dan Roche broadcasting live from the Marathon Start in Hopkinton. Presented by Planet Fitness on the Sports Hub.
The starting line of the Boston Marathon in Hopkinton. Dan Roche is here.
We're about 3 minutes away from the men's wheelchair division.
Okay.
Marcel Hoog is the defending champ. He's won it like a gazillion times.
Yeah.
So good.
We're going to see them starting here, and I'm sure we'll hear the race when it begins. But it will be in the midst of our conversation with Thomas E. Smith, who is joining us now. You like Tom? You like Thomas?
Tom's fine. Just really appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you.
So you are running the marathon today, and this is something that is remarkable. One of the many remarkable stories here today, Tom, because you have been through not one, but I believe 3 injuries or accidents that have made this as difficult as the marathon is, presented some more challenges for you.
Yeah, Artie, this is, I'm going for number 7. So this would be my 7th Boston Marathon when I get to Boylston. And to what you said, I've been paralyzed 3 separate times, completely different injuries, 2 while playing hockey. And then my dad and I were involved in a serious car accident in 2010. And look, the marathon's been a tremendous vehicle for us to raise money and awareness for individuals with paralysis through the Thomas E. Smith Foundation Journey Forward, things like that. But and when I think about the 6 years, we've raised over $200,000 doing it. But the people that I've met along the way, when you look at that course, every single person has a story.
Yeah.
Every single person has a purpose for why they're doing it. And then leaving the Sheraton, right? We leave at 6:30 in the morning. We're with the amputees. We're with folks that ear and eye impairments, physical impairments like myself. The wheelchair division. It is just, it's my favorite day of the year because it's an opportunity to bring literally all walks of life together from all different backgrounds and go for one common goal. And that's we want to do something that's greater than ourselves. And when you're running for charity, you want to complete with purpose.
How long does it take you to run the marathon, and what are the challenges you face, and what made you do this with all your injuries and everything else?
Yeah, so it's an interesting question, Dan. So the short answer to how long it takes is I'm walking at roughly 3 miles an hour. So that puts me in Boston 8 hours and 45 minutes from when we start, which will be at 10 o'clock.
So if we tried to run, you'd beat Hardy and us because we run at about 2 miles an hour.
Well, I'd be stopping a lot. Oh, there we go. We just heard the first gunshot of the 129th Boston Marathon.
Oh, wow.
Men's wheelchair division.
Could you rephrase that a little better? Thank you.
What?
We just heard the first gunshot of the Boston Marathon. Could you say we just heard the starting shotgun go off?
The first starting pistol. All right, if you want to make it awkward and do like a semantics thing, we can do that too.
Thank you.
All right.
But go ahead.
Well, no, it's and talk about
Don't touch me.
Talk about inspiration, right? The wheelchairs just took off behind us. But Dan, you ask about why I do this. After each of my accidents, I was told I was never going to walk again. And so 2 things that I really wanted to prove to myself was I was a big cyclist, which is how I trained for hockey in the off season and things like that. So I wanted to ride a bike again, which I was able to modify a bike and do that. And that's really actually how I trained for the marathon. And then when I was a senior in high school, to graduate from the high school I went to, we had to do a senior project. So I'm 18 years old. I'm not really comprehending what a marathon could look like. And I ran Boston. So I ran Boston in 2008, 4 months before my first paralyzing accident.
Wow.
And I remember after my second accident, I'm one of the emergency room doctors. When I woke up, I said, "Doc, what are the chances I get to do a marathon again?" He goes, "Well, maybe in a wheelchair." So I said to myself, it's my goal to one day do the Boston Marathon, as I did it in 2008. And then I went out in 2018 and completed my first Boston and have done it every year since.
So, and again, just so people can understand who are listening right now and aren't watching and don't know your story, Thomas, you're standing here in front of us.
Yep, with my loft-sharing crutches.
Okay, so what do you call those?
So loft-sharing crutches, and for those who are listening, forearm crutches.
Okay.
Yep.
You are standing and moving and like, to me, it just seems incomprehensible. Somebody who had 3, in your terminology, paralyzing injuries, that you're even standing, much less the ability to kind of, get around and propel yourself forward.
Yeah.
How much work has it taken to get to this point?
It's a lot of work, and it definitely takes a village, right? Starting with my family, friends, and then you include that with comprehensive research from the medical community, my physical therapist, my nurse. This has been me getting here today has been a combination of hundreds of people. It really does take a village when you think about it. And I think, with the marathon, it's such an opportunity, I think, when people say something's impossible, well, in the word it says, I'm possible. And that's how I'm approaching every marathon. With doctors said, no, it's impossible. No one's been paralyzed 3 separate times to ever do a marathon, things like that. And I said, well, I'm possible. And I think that's the attitude that a lot of us that maybe quote unquote aren't normal and have a physical disability or something that doesn't allow us to be a normal able-bodied person, to allow us to get up and do what we do.
And the women's wheelchair division just taking off now as well.
With the starting pistol being fired.
There have
Is
now
that
been
better?
2 gunshots reported.
Yeah, okay. See?
Thank you.
Now you're going to upset Dan by saying that. What time do you go off?
So we go off right about 10.
Okay.
Yeah, and a special something that's happening today is, so I'm walking with Brian McCarthy, who's done an amazing job with fundraising. He's, I think, number 4 on the BAA's list. It was over $130,000 for our foundation.
Wow.
But on Saturday, I'm at the expo, and a good friend of mine who we've been working with is Bill Richard from the Martin Richard Foundation.
Oh, sure.
So Bill had a bid this year and then had an injury over the winter, but still wanted to do the marathon. So he pulled me aside and said, "Tom, why don't we walk it together?"
So you're going to walk it with Bill?
So Bill Richard, myself, Brian McCarthy, we're all leaving at 10, and we will be going on the 8.5-hour journey. So it's kind of like the Martin Richard Foundation, Thomas E. Smith Foundation. We're coming together for folks with disability to provide access, and it's going to be extremely special.
And how do you help people that are interested in the Thomas E. Smith Foundation? Who goes there, and what are they looking for, and what do you provide?
Dan, great question. So the core competency...
It was an okay question. I mean, honestly, it's kind of like a textbook, one of these interview questions. It wasn't particularly insightful, but go ahead, Thomas.
Well, we appreciate it.
Just go.
So at the core competency on what we do at the Thomas E. Smith Foundation is the care continuum. So we break it up into 4 different stages. Moment of trauma, when the injury happens. Acute, when you're in inpatient rehab. Transition, when you're transitioning home. And then long-term health, getting people back in the community, back to work. We tell folks that life's not over when this injury happens. You're going to do things differently, but you can still be a very productive member professionally and then personally have a very full life. We also donate to cutting-edge research, and our trials are literally proving that folks who had never walked are now walking again. Now we need to up that to the hundreds and then the thousands. And then the community development. So how can we really hit the masses and scale what we do? So those 3 areas are what we focus on. And this year is special because it's our 15-year anniversary. In February, we crossed $2 million donated. So we just love what we do, and we've been able to help some amazing families.
God bless you, bud. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And we're just like to be here.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And are you totally okay with Bill Richard walking the race with you today? Because I don't know what his injury was like over the winter, but it's like if he sprained his ankle and you're like, oh, you really want to do it with me? I was paralyzed 3 times. Is that really appropriate for him to kind of be alongside you?
Yeah, well, Bill's just Bill and I have been friends for a while now, so
I know,
But at least, like, if you get to the finish line, say, Bill, see that right? Can you pick that up for me? And then cross ahead of him.
Right?
Exactly.
Well, I told Bill, I said, Bill, if you need a crutch, I got one for you because I have two. And he's like, I don't need a crutch.
Right.
I was obviously just kidding with him, but it's going to be just a fantastic day.
But of course you don't. It's like, you need a crutch because you hurt yourself a couple of months ago. You want a story? I got a story.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about why you need them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you.
Again, great work. I see you wearing the Journey Forward bib, and I've been doing stuff with those guys here for years now, and it's just, talk about, ignoring the word impossible, which is what they're all about.
Hardy, and before we jump, Dan Cummings, John Waters, but they do amazing work. But Dan, taking his situation, being in California, realizing there's no resources out here for outpatient PT, opening Journey Forward. Journey Forward has been our outpatient rehabilitation partner for 13 years. They are by far the most comprehensive physical therapy facility for individuals with paralysis. And me personally, I just think the world of Dan Cummings and what they do because it's tangible. Folks go in there and they come out better.
Yeah.
And that's, we're a results-driven organization, and Journey Forward provides that for the patients and individuals that go through there.
It's just, it's kind of that, bullheaded Boston mentality of that. Look, this is your situation. It can't be changed, and you're not going to be able to do anything about it. He said, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
That's
These
kind
are the
of
great stories of the Boston Marathon, which I tried to tell you at 6 o'clock when I was excited to be here.
But you were too excited.
Right.
You were too excited at 6. Now I'm starting to feel it. Now I'm with you.
Now
we can all be on the
now
same
we're going
page
off the
together. Yes. With Thomas, Thomas E. Smith Foundation. But Tom, thanks so much for taking the time, joining us here, telling your story, and best of luck today.
Thank you both.
Go get 'em.
We're psyched, and we'll be leaving in about 45 minutes. So it'll be good.
So you finish about 6:20ish?
Yeah, between 6:20 and 6:45.
Steve Burton from WBZ TV. All
Okay.
right?
Yeah. We'll hook up with Steve and we'll let him know how the day went.
Yeah.
Okay.
He won't remember your name or anything like that, but just look for him.
If he doesn't have Dan there to prep him and come up with questions
He's
for
the
him, I might
best.
be a
Dan,
little
come
bit-
on. Are you going to be there or what?
Steve is good. No. Steve is all good.
Yeah, oh yeah.
No,
Oh, yeah.
you guys are the best. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. We're going to continue here from the marathon. We have one more guest that's
Where are
going to
we?
join. Where are we?
What edition?
The 129th Boston Marathon. Okay. And we have one more guest that's going to join us here, and we're going to have to get to that sooner than later because, as you can hear,
It's starting.
It has started, and we have marathoners on the course right now. So we'll keep moving things along here from Hopkinton at the starting line on Toucher and Hardy here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to
Toucher and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub, live from the starting line in Hopkinton for the 129th Boston Marathon. Dan Roche is here with me, Ryan Johnston in studio, and joining us now, Terry Lotka is the Senior Director of Development and Operations for the Doug Flutie Foundation for Autism. Thank you so much, Terry,
You're
for
welcome.
joining us
Really
here.
happy to be here.
We were just talking about Doug, how he gets mistreated as an NFL player. You know?
Well, his career was long, and he endured everything, and really he thinks of his legacy now as this foundation. So
it's awesome.
Dan was really harping on the fact, though, that he was mistreated for, well,
the system. They didn't let him play his system. They tried to mold him into everybody else, that other quarterback, instead of letting him be Doug Flutie, which we all know was ridiculous here.
Does Doug walk around acting like a victim? Because I think that's what Dan is trying to turn him into here, and I find it disrespectful.
no, he definitely doesn't walk around as a victim.
I didn't think so. So maybe you should change your narrative a little bit, Dan.
I'm sorry, Terry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Terry, you're obviously part of the marathon here today as part of the foundation. How did your story turn into this story of being part of the foundation and everything else involved?
Yeah, so I started with the foundation about 6 years ago now. My oldest son was diagnosed with autism at 3. And so when I had the opportunity to start here, it was just a perfect fit. Couldn't be happier. The Flutie Foundation just does amazing things. As you mentioned, Doug and his wife started it 27 years ago now, which is, I think, very rare for a celebrity-type foundation to really kind of stay relevant for this long. And in the last 5 to 6 years, we've even grown, doubled in size, gotten more money out to the autism community. And so that's really thanks to Doug and Lori and Dougie Jr. for really setting that precedent when we started. Our mission is to just helping people and families affected by autism live life to the fullest. And when they started the foundation, they realized that not only were there not many services, but they had the means, and they still had a hard time, getting services for their son. So they wanted to make a difference and make sure, not only are services and, critical needs of the autism community were met and more services were out there, but also that families had the financial assistance to go ahead and access those services.
Why have they grown?
So it's really Doug and Lori that have helped us just move forward. They've allowed us to stay really up on what the needs are in the autism community, and also just really allowing us to stay focused on what it is that we're doing. So we have a lot of different programs that help people with autism, but we're not in it for a cure. We're not in it we can't, take on the task of employment right now, but we are helping people with autism just live full lives, just like all of us want to do, whether that is through an opportunity like this, the Boston Marathon, which is just an incredible organization, the BAA, that gives opportunities to people with autism. And today, that's a perfect representation. We have 17 runners with autism starting the Boston Marathon today that have qualified through the adaptive program for runners. And that's thanks to the BAA giving that opportunity. They run a first-in-class, in my opinion, program for paras and adaptive runners. And I think, the opportunity is there, and then we come in and support those runners. People with autism and other disabilities have many needs, and financial, support runners, specialized coaching, just any accommodations, and the BAA really allows us to do that, and they provide the opportunity for us to do that.
Seems like specifically with autism, as more and more is learned, it's not as maybe as tangible or as clear-cut as some other issues that people are out here raising money for today, whether it's cancer, whether it's heart disease. There's a clear-cut goal involved with the autism. It seems like the goalposts are changing. The needs are still being realized, and maybe some of the different ways that people can help and where areas of need are being identified. It changes all the time because so much is still being learned about the overall situation and people dealing with it.
Yes, and it does. And I think, what we do for people with autism is just make sure that they have what they need to continue to progress. So we've seen so much progression in people with autism, and now they're out here. We have this great program. It's called Stars of the Spectrum, and we have a bunch of creative musicians that tour the country and put on shows. Some of these people with autism didn't speak till they were 6 and 7, and now they've put out an album. They've done, they do shows, and same, these runners, some of our runners, people told them that they would never be able to do anything. And so just really understanding the needs as they grow and, starting from the beginning with that, financial support for families all the way through their lives. They deserve to have hobbies, they deserve to have passions, and that's really what we do.
You are a runner anyway.
I am.
So how are you feeling about today's race? How do you feel about
this for you?
I think this is probably number 18 Boston's, I think. Something like that.
I don't even know. I've run so many marathons.
Terry,
I don't
just
even know.
shut up.
I know. I'm sorry.
Right?
I'm sorry.
That was a bit out of line.
Yeah, she's taking it real hard.
Yeah. Seemed like a good condition marathon running
beautiful day.
I don't know.
I think it's going to be a beautiful day. I always say when it's a little too warm for the runners, it's the perfect day in Boston, because Boston Marathon is like no other, the absolute best day in the city, and in Hopkinton and Wellesley and everywhere else. And so when it's a little warm for the runners, the crowds stay out there, and they stay out there all day and cheering everyone on.
By the time you go by, right?
Yeah. Well, yes, that. But that's always fun to see. That's a fun thing to see when you go by those colleges. Makes Boston unique.
Do you know the 8 different towns that you run through when you're running the marathon?
I don't know if I could do that. Let me think. Hopkinton, Ashland. Framingham, Natick, Wellesley, Newton, Boston.
Nope, forgot one
more. In between Newton and Boston.
Brighton?
Bruh.
Brookline. Got it. I'll know today.
Sorry.
I'll know today. I'll put it in my mind today.
Dan quizzed us on it earlier. The only one we really missed was
Ashland is a tough one because he comes right away.
Ashland I love because they have huge spectators. As soon as you hit Ashland, it's great.
What's the Wellesley noise like? Is that it irritated me after a while. The girls outside Wellesley College were so loud it hurt my ears.
No. Love it. You can hear it if the wind's going in the right direction. You can hear it for miles ahead of time. So, yeah.
Terry, let me ask you specifically, because you mentioned the noise, and for some of your runners with autism, I know that sometimes that can be an issue for certain runners. Is that something that they have to contend with when they're on the course? Because
So a couple of things with that, which is really exciting. Again, Boston Marathon does phenomenal things for people and to allow them to be included in an event like this. So 12 of our 17 runners have support runners. So they're just there to help manage kind of the anxiety. They get to know them ahead of time. They really spend the time to understand what that runner's needs are. And then this year, for the first time ever, the Boston Marathon, in conjunction with the Doug Flutie Jr. Foundation for Autism, has set up in Wellesley and the town of Wellesley a sensory-friendly zone for families to come to and watch the marathon. So that includes people with autism, all other disabilities. They can come there and know that they're going to feel safe, that we have some noise signs out, please no cowbells, that sort of thing. But really what that is about when we think of inclusion is about, it is the Boston Marathon, right? So you're coming to see the Boston Marathon. We just need to put some things into place that make it successful. So there's some indoor space there. There's some outdoor space around the back. It's all fenced in. And so we're really excited about that this year. We think it's maybe the first time any major outdoor sporting event has done something like this.
That's
so
awesome.
We're really excited, and that's in Wellesley at Council on Aging right there on Washington Street. It's going to be fantastic.
All right, what kind of time are you going for today?
So I have the privilege to be supporting one of our adaptive runners today.
Oh, good.
Hannah Adams. She is an incredible force. Yeah, Hannah is becoming famous. She was on a couple panels at the Expo this weekend, and she's been training really hard. This is her 7th Boston Marathon, and she would like to break 4 hours. So Hannah,
God bless her.
It's out there. We got to do it.
What's your PR?
Like in Boston?
No, in
3:15.
Yes, 3:15. 3:15. Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Long time ago. Not now.
See
not
how
now.
Did you run in
turns on
college
a
and stuff like
dime?
that?
Yes.
Wow. At BC, or where'd you go to school?
No, I went to school out in Montana. I grew up in Massachusetts. but
Montana,
yeah.
read the prep. I could have told you that. You could have asked me. I could have told you Montana.
One of the best states in the country. Love it out there.
Yes,
Yeah.
Lisa Hughes is one of our anchors is from out there.
Yeah.
Just
Do they do
Gorgeous.
they do marathons in Montana?
Yeah, they do.
So
do they have cars in Montana?
What time is it in
Now,
Montana?
so many years later.
I know,
When
right?
I went out there 30-plus years later, I got worse comments than that, let me tell you.
I know, right? That's crazy.
Oh, see, now we have runners waving to us, Dan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hand cyclists?
Yeah.
And going now?
When I lived in Albuquerque, there were a bunch of marathoners who stayed there and trained there because it's
Yeah,
at
that's where they
altitude.
go.
Yeah. So, and it was crazy to just be, I was a rock DJ, having slept 2 hours from the night before, trying to make
What
myself.
are all
and
these
it's-
people doing out here?
And you see that, and they're not just out for a run. These you can tell by looking, by the gait and by the pace. These guys running up at, the foothills of the Sandia Mountains, probably running, like a 5-minute mile pace. Like, where is this guy going? What is he doing? That doesn't look,
crazy.
Run of the mill. Yeah. So it's everywhere. And then it all culminates here. All these people are training from around the world. They all end up at, this Boston Marathon as one of the majors to try and do whatever it is they're trying to accomplish today.
It's the greatest
Right.
marathon in the world.
It really is. And we're so lucky. I think the what the Boston Marathon does.
Why do you look at me when you say that? Like I'm not going to argue
at
it.
6 a.m. and now look, you've come around.
Go ahead, Terry.
I was going to say what the Boston Marathon does to include so many people in this race. The Flutie Foundation also has a total of 61 runners running today. And some are charity runners raising an incredible amount of money for the autism community. Some are guide runners. We have our first duo runner and our autism athletes. So it's just amazing what they do.
Yeah.
And for more information on the Flutie Foundation?
So flutiefoundation.org.
Yep.
Please go on our website. Lots of information about different programs, about just all the incredible work. We're always looking for help, volunteers, financial assistance, whatever it is. We love having people part of the Flutie family.
Absolutely. Well, Terry Lotka, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Go crush it today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And as always,
She has to go. Like, she's trying to get her headphones off. Let her go. Join her great runner.
continued success, Terry. Thank you for
Thank
your
you
time.
guys so much. This is great.
I'm not doing anything wrong. Don't make me
Terry,
feel
you
like
can
I'm
take your
doing
headsets off and just go. It's fine.
It's fine. We're
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you. All right, Terry. All right. Now we're hearing the strains of God Bless America.
Yep.
And if Dan Roche had his way, they would change the lyrics to God Bless the Boston Marathon, the greatest marathon in the world.
It is.
Because you've run so many.
No, no, everybody wants to run Boston.
Because you've been to all of them?
No, everybody, ask any marathoner, any elite marathoner, any average marathoner, they'll all say the same thing. They've done that. And they want to run Boston. It's the marathon. And Artie, you're here. You're part of it. You're like, this is part of, like, living. This is what makes it a great day, a unique day. It's the city of Boston, but all eyes of the world are on it.
Would you call me an integral part of the Boston Marathon?
No, you helped today.
Thanks.
You've actually been very good today.
Thanks, Dan. Thank you.
For the attitude you can't. When I met you at 5:15 or whatever, when Kelly was nowhere to be found. She told me to meet me at 5:15. I'm in a Price Chopper parking lot, and there's no one around. I felt abandoned.
What are the odds that our cars are still there?
I know.
When we get back there.
Yep.
Dan insisted.
That parking is for customers only.
Right.
Okay, so, right, Ryan? So either way, you're screwed. If you're going to get towed, you're going to get towed. Before we leave.
I didn't know we had to meet at like 7:30. That's what time Kelly got there.
There were 3 of us meeting up there for a ride over here to the starting line. And Ramiro, who's on the morning show down the hall, and they're set up in the tent next to us, and me and Dan. So we're all parked in like essentially the same spot of the parking lot. Our ride shows up. Dennis and Tyler show up to drive us over here. And Dan says, hold on, I'm going to move my car. I said, where? He goes, I don't know, I just want to move it.
I moved to one lane, one space.
He just moved it over to like another row for no discernible reason. I said, Dan, it's fine. He's like, no, I just want to. Is there any explanation now, some 4 hours later, as to why you did that?
I think I wanted to be near the end against the side rather than right, because we were kind of in the middle.
Easier to tow?
No, just maybe you couldn't see me.
Okay. All right. Well, as long as you feel better about it. I feel great that we are getting closer and closer
we're
to
starting the men's division.
To our, the starting of more runners getting out on the course here. So we'll let them do that. We'll let Ryan Johnston take care of the headlines here, and then we'll be back with emails, stack, and everything else here this morning on Toucher and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Celtics beat the Orlando Magic yesterday, 103-86 in Game 1 of their playoff run. Derek White with 30 points to lead the way. Game 2 of that best-of-7 series is Wednesday night. Other Game 1s yesterday. Oklahoma City blew out Memphis. Cleveland, an easy win over Miami. Golden State topped Houston last night, 95-85. NBA has announced finalists for its season awards. Peyton Pritchard of the Celtics is a nominee for Sixth Man of the Year. Red Sox and White Sox will get going at Fenway in about 90 minutes for the traditional Patriots Day 11:10 a.m. start. Walker Buehler on the mound for Boston yesterday. The White Sox an 8-4 win, ending the Red Sox 4-game winning streak. Stanley Cup playoffs yesterday. Carolina beats New Jersey 4-1 in Game 1 of that series. Toronto with a 6-2 win over Linus Ullmark and the Ottawa Senators last night. In Vegas, a 4-2 victory over Minnesota. And the Boston Marathon, the 129th running, getting underway. The men's pros about to hit the course right now. Headlines brought to you by Cape Cod Lumber and CCL Homescapes. 100% employee-owned, your go-to independent lumber yard. Partner with CCL and CCL Homescapes for all your building needs right in Abington. I'm Ryan Johnston on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. More headlines at 10 o'clock.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
It's Warrendale Appliance of Waltham's store-wide savings event. Yes, all month long.
Your love thing.
Let's go. Let's ride.
98.5.
Like, let's roll the dice.
Sports Hub.
You know, I got an idea for a bit. The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
Dan, you say I don't like you, but look at my screensaver.
Oh, that's awesome.
Look at my screensaver. I keep that, me and Dan Roche.
You just made that, right, 2 seconds ago.
No, I didn't.
Yes,
Look
you
how that photo's from like 3 years ago.
I know, when you just crushed my golf game.
Yeah. Yes, it is the world famous and award-winning email segment here on Toucher and Hardy. As Dan and I are wrapping up our broadcast here from the starting line of the 129th Boston Marathon. Here in Hopkinton, we are efforting Tim McCone. You would think of all the guests we got this morning.
Can you get him on your air?
Exactly. Dave McGilvray, we had him on earlier. We had somebody from the Flutie Foundation. We had the president and CEO of Team Hoyt, perhaps the most storied of all Boston Marathon teams. Done. Check. Last year we had Rob Gronkowski here. The one person we weren't able to get. 98.5 The Sports Hub midday co-host Tim McCone. Just can't get him. Sorry. He's
hydrating.
He's big timing us. Oh, here I just got a text back from McCone. Yeah, I'm still on the bus, so you might not be able to hear me. It's 9:45 all right. Yeah, that'd be fine, Tim. Whatever you can do for us, that'd be great. Unbelievable. Email here. This is from Ben. Hey, Hardy, great show and interviews this morning. And most importantly, great job putting up with Roche. This guy is on the warpath this morning, correcting you on every exit and rejoin, insulting guests and interrupting. Is he over-caffeinated, under-caffeinated, tired, or what? In all seriousness, I love Roche, but dang, man, he's a little much this morning on a holiday. Only a half an hour more to go. That was from Ben in Weymouth about 15 minutes ago.
Sorry, Ben.
Is it over-caffeinated?
Maybe. I don't know.
Under-caffeinated?
I just no, you know what? I feel like this day by, how do I put this? A lot of people have been, it's been underappreciated.
The day is underappreciated.
Yeah. If people that don't know it and aren't associated with it or dismiss it or what have you, it's a nuisance to this traffic and everything else. I want people to understand just how special a day it is for Boston.
Very important is waiting on the line.
Oh, it sounds like maybe we finally
got
Tim McCone right now on the expert hotline. McCone, are you there?
I am. I'm on the bus on the way to the start line. Can I ask you an honest question, though, Hardy?
Yeah.
Why are you having me on right now? Because I just listened to somebody that's been paralyzed 3 times, other people overcoming the odds, and I'm like legit just out running a really bad diet. I hammer like 2 calzones a week, and now I'm trying to run a marathon. That's pretty much it.
Well, your particular challenge.
That's my story. That's my story. Yeah.
Okay, so Tim McCone's challenge in running the marathon is he's done this thing which is not uncommon, but it's unfortunate that he's managed to gain weight with every marathon that he runs. He just gets heavier and heavier.
That's pretty good, Tim. I like it.
Oh, no, it's true. It's true. Yeah, everyone's like, oh, you must be in really good shape. No, I've actually gained 16 pounds since we started training. So that's, it's not ideal. Not ideal.
It happens, though, because you run so much and you train so much, you just become ravenous and you just eat too much. Is that it?
I like that. Glass half full approach, for sure. Yes. Yeah, that's it.
What's your story then today? Why are you running?
Yeah, what is your story?
Personal growth. That's it. Personal growth, yeah. And a bucket list thing. No, I think if you grow up around here, and you've seen the marathon, growing up every year and going to it when I was a kid and stuff like that, it's kind of a bucket list thing that you want to check off. So it should be a fun day for sure. And
have you run it? You've never run it?
I've done Chicago a couple times, and I've done some other stuff. So this is going to be exciting. And then Zone set me up with a playlist that's Pitbull, Lady Gaga, and St. Elmo's Fire about 15 different times to sprinkled throughout. So we should be good. Yeah.
That won't get old at all. So you're running as a qualified runner today? Is that how you got in, or did you raise money?
Or you abandoned?
No, yeah. We're trying to go for 3:30 today, so I think it'll be we're trying to break 3:30 today. So I think it should be good. We got good weather for it.
Wow.
Okay.
Good for you. And do me a favor, hydrate, okay? First 5 miles so that you feel good at the end.
I love it. Love it.
All right. It's very noisy on the bus, Tim. We appreciate you calling in, and good luck.
All right. See you guys.
Okay, there he goes, Tim McComb.
It's worth trying to get him all morning. Why are you doing it? Just for myself.
I don't know. To raise any money? No.
I gained weight.
Gained weight.
It's the only person. The best part of doing the marathon was like the last month of training. You can eat literally whatever you want. And you still lose weight. What happened to him?
I don't know. He's kind of doughy.
That's awesome. Good luck, Tim.
Nick, kind of echoing what Tim just said. He goes, you got a guy who's been paralyzed 3 times. You got people raising money for autism, this and that. And Nick emailed in. He says, I think I would have stopped going outside after I was paralyzed the second time. JFC. But instead,
it is true.
Tom is over here is like, paralyzed 3 times. I was like, no, I'll still do marathons.
These people are like so inspirational. It is. It's crazy.
Just a different
It is crazy. And I want to give a shout out to wish all the Pedro Martinez Foundation runners that are running today, raising money for Pedro and his wife Carolina and their foundation. They're building a school. It's almost done completion. Years and years of planning and building in Pedro's hometown, and it's going to be a charter school, a beautiful facility, and that's going to open in 2026. And Pedro and Carolina have gone through a lot recently. Hardy, we were talking about this. The nightclub, the roof collapse affected so many people. There's so many people that I've talked to and met that this was the place everybody goes to in the Dominican Republic for your 21st birthday, just to celebrate family things. Just it's known for everybody, and hundreds of people have passed away. And talking to Pedro and Carolina, he's saying thank you for so much support and love from all the Bostonians and the people of New England. They've had some personal tragedy that they're dealing with, so I just want to give a shout-out to them and let them know that we're all thinking about them, too.
You checked in with him recently.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to they had a brunch for their runners and did a thing with Pedro and Carolina.
You also had to sit down with Wick Grosbeck recently.
Yeah, little Zoom call with him on Friday, and I just contacted him and said, hey, we've been doing this for several years now, and last year it worked out pretty well. Then he went on to win the championship, and he said, let's do it. So we talked, and the thing I took that was the most interesting from that, Hardy, is he said the sale is expected to be complete. The women in the first wave now are going to, so... but he said...
That's men and women.
Yes, this is the first wave. Following the elites that just took off.
Okay.
If you've ever seen the marathon or whatever, this is how they do it. I'm not sure if you listened to Dave McGilvery earlier, but this is how we do it.
Yeah, I was here last year. I don't know what you were doing last year.
Wick said
you're probably watching
that
on your couch.
Things have gone progressively well. They expect the sale, the first part of the sale to go through this summer. And he also said that things have gone so well that a lot of partners are coming back that initially were part of were for this sale, and that he's doubling down on his part of the ownership. So, which led me to think, and I don't know if he wants to get really back in and stay and remain governor as just a minority partner, though. Like, I don't know where he's coming from with that, but I thought it was good news and good to hear because, let's face it, Wick and Steve Pagliuca have been two of the best owners in Boston of a team, of a professional sports team.
I saw them sitting next to each other on the sideline for at least a portion of yesterday's game,
which is good.
And yeah, I mean, I would rather have those guys get along than not. But in terms of whether or not it's good news that there are more partners coming in and there's more things, I don't know. It's news, for sure, but it doesn't seem like the easiest of transitions. Other teams get sold, and maybe this becomes the norm now. It sounds like it's similar to what happened with Mark Cuban and the Mavericks, where it's so much money and it's such a big operation. You just can't say, okay, the house is yours now. Here are the keys. We're out. You move your stuff in.
Right.
It's more of a process now.
So much money, right?
Yeah. Than it was 20 years ago, 10 years ago. So I understand that these are probably dealings and transactions that are beyond my comprehension. But I don't know if it's all necessarily good. It sounds like it could make things messy when you've got a former owner in Wick who really wants to, still be there and wants to maintain not just a role, not just something ceremonial, but how does that work with a new owner? Say, no, you had your chance to do this, and you sold the team. Oh, you still want to be the governor? You still want to be the GM? You still want to control things?
Well, I think Celtics fans would want that. I think if somehow it could work out right, because the last thing you want is Bill Chisholm to take over the new ownership and then trade Jason Tatum. like Mark Cuban loses his part, and then he watches Luka Doncic get traded. So I think you want to kind of keep it status quo. So if that's the new way to do it, I'm all for it.
It just seems like something is going to happen unpleasant regardless of who owns the team this season, next season, the season after that. And if I were Wick, I wouldn't necessarily want to be the face of that. Now, unless they've got some great plan that is going to be able to keep the band together, especially if they, win another championship here or make a strong run at it, the overwhelming notion is going to be keep as much of this together as possible. Some things you're not going to be able to help. Al Horford is, not going to be around that much longer, and you understand some moves are going to have to be made. But, forbid you need to, move one of your, big three pieces or one of the three guys. You mentioned one of them already, but whether it's Brown or Porzingis or something, somebody has to go. If you're Wick, would you want to be out in front of that and be the guy that has to make the announcement? To me, that sounds like the perfect time to get out.
I know, it does, but I think maybe they're wired differently than we are.
Maybe.
Maybe he just wants to see it through.
Much like these great runners and participants in today's 129th Boston Marathon. See, I did it.
Yep. Oh, that's it?
That's it.
Shout out to the Ed Walsh Foundation. My daughter ran for them the last couple of years for a firefighter. Passed away in Boston. His wife, just an awesome, awesome human being. So good luck to all the runners out there.
Is she running today?
No, but she runs the whole foundation and raises money for kids. So it's great.
Why isn't she running today?
I don't know. Ask her, okay? I don't know what you want to say.
I know she's busy.
Oh, my
she's
daughter?
coaching.
I thought you meant
your daughter.
Oh, I thought you meant Mrs. Walsh who runs the foundation.
No, your daughter.
She's busy coaching Babson softball.
Oh, I'm sure there are coaches out here running today.
Not softball coaches.
Oh, no.
It's that time of year.
There are no softball coaches
in
the field
of 32,000.
In the field of 32,000, not a one.
Nope.
All right, we'll be back tomorrow.
Sorry to be a pain, Hardy. I didn't mean to be offensive to you.
That's fine. No.
I had fun today, and thanks to all the people that helped set us up. Kelly Anderson and
the show's
Tyler
over.
And Dennis.
The show's over.
How about saying thank you to all these people?
We have to be quiet. They're singing the anthem again
Good to
for
see
some
you, Hardy.
reason.